Hello. Is this thing on? Oh, there it goes. Fixed it. Hello, everybody. Not sure if you noticed the little Easter egg thing yesterday, but it had two spiders clipped on the hat. And now I just have like a little skeleton hand thing. Since it's Halloween, and I know it's a little weird to put hair clips on a hat, but I don't know. I can't decide if I like it or not, but I thought I should do something Halloween-y. But now it's asymmetrical. You know what? Whatever. I don't care. How's everybody doing? Let me pull up chat here. There's actually a lot going on tonight, live show-wise. So maybe it would have been better to plan for a different day when it's not so much competition for viewership, I suppose. There's 2 other live debates going on, plus everybody else is doing their own show too, so maybe not the best day, but I'll figure the schedule thing out at some point. If anyone has ideas for best days to do that aren't already taken up by everybody else, that'd be good to know. Hello, Aaron Pro, Mr. Hair of the Dog, Mr. Phantom X11, Mr. Patrick Finnegan. I'm assuming you're all Misters, because I suppose women tend to pick more feminine names, but if I misgendered anybody, my sincere apologies. Please don't cancel me. Okay, so it's weird because with the headphones, the headphone situation, these are the cheapest headphones that I have, and they're the most comfortable, and I find myself reaching for them most of the time. And the more expensive ones are kind of and then the medium ones, these I mostly got because they're a brighter white, so I think they match the chair and everything better, so the color scheme is better, but they're just really uncomfortable, so I'm not a big fan. Not that anybody cares. Just figured chat a little bit while I'm pulling things up here. So yeah, so I started watching this debate. Oh no, misgendered. I am so sorry, Mrs. Patrick. I apologize sincerely. I did not mean to do that. Yes, the headphone review. But these are the most comfortable I have, even though they're the cheapest, and I kind of regret buying the other ones. And the only annoying thing about these ones that's throwing me off is they don't match the white. And see that it has lights on it, but you can't really tell because of the other lights and because it's out of the view really, so that's kind of pointless too. But this whole boom arm thing has colorful lights on it that glow, but you can't really tell from the camera because of the lighting situation, so I have to figure out the lighting thing too to make it visible, I guess, so it's more interesting, because I think the gray is kind of plain. So open to all kinds of ideas for lighting and whatnot, and timing and whatever. Are you joshing the taters? Okay. Let's see here. So this debate, I started watching it on the day it came out live, and I got halfway through and I was like, oh, I'll just watch the rest of it with everybody else, because I'm just gonna. And then I was going to do a reaction to. Sorry, I'll step past my phone. I was going to do a reaction to the one that Andrew had with the other lady, but she was a full-on communist, and it would be annoying trying to do a politics communist versus capitalist thing. I'm just not that into it. It just wasn't as interesting, I suppose. It was kind of boring. So uh-oh. Okay. Well, about this one. This one was a little bit more interesting. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Jimbob. Anybody from the Crucible cult, not a fan. But this lady, uh, so it's one of those where I am not a fan of either of the people, really. Her arguments were terrible. Um, like the feminism thing, it's kind of overdone anyway, but people like it, so let me get that up. This one, yeah, let's do this one. Let's get that up here. Okay. And since I hear I'm a little bit soft-spoken, and when sometimes I unpause people, it gets kind of loud for y'all. Let me turn it down a little bit for the volume for the actual debate. And if it's too quiet, let me know and I'll turn it back up, and so that way you can hear it. But I turn it down quite a bit here so that it's not like a contrast in volume, because I know I tend to be a little bit quieter on the quieter side. So this is basically the beginning of the opening arguments here, and just get right into it.
I want a society that's progressive, non-patriarchal, and that stands with the human right values and stuff. So my argument is that hang on. So my argument is why feminism is good for society, or I should say why it is good for women. Feminism is good as it gives women the freedom to live life on their own terms. To me, feminism is.
So I don't want to be annoying, but right away, the actual, maybe I should have started with that, but the actual topic says, debate, is feminism helping or harming society? And right away she switched from, if society is it good for women? Okay. So what happened to the topic? Like, I don't know. Right away, I'm just annoyed. Let's see here. Patrick says this was like Jimbob was working in the desk at DMV trying to explain to her that they can't help her with the speeding ticket. Hello, gas mask. Doing well. The parrot art key. Yeah, so right away it's annoying because, like, well, I thought we were talking about society here, but she shifts it to women, so okay, I mean, I guess that's the same thing to her now. Not a great start. I'll try not to pause as often as I am annoyed, but throughout this whole thing, I am annoyed by both people. Pretty much almost equally, honestly. Like, ugh.
Is equality plus equity in education, workspace, marriage, choosing a partner, choosing to have a kid. It is also good. It's made women aware of their own rights that were denied to them for centuries. So I'm going to give you a little bit comparison of like what used to happen before and where we are today. So before the first wave of feminism, which began in the mid-19th century, women's rights were varied widely depending on the time period, location, and social class, but they were generally severely restricted compared to men. So there was limited property ownership. Married women had no independent property rights. Under the legal doctrine of covenanture, common in English-speaking countries, a woman's legal identity was subsumed by her husband upon marriage.
This doesn't sound like something she wrote herself, and I understand a lot of people use ChatGPT to help them write things now. I use ChatGPT. Everybody uses ChatGPT. It's basically a replacement for Google for helping with like research, for helping organize things, for helping like look things up and like sort through large amounts of data. Like it's very helpful for me as well, and helping come up with like titles for YouTube. But you can't just take the output and read it directly. You have to make it your own, at least a little bit. Like, you have to modify it. You have to like understand what you're saying and say it in a way that you would say it. You know what I mean? Like, this sounds like she's reading something that she didn't write, because she's sitting there like stumbling over every word, and it's not a good look. It is not a good look. And it sounds like she's reading ChatGPT output. That's what it sounds like. And a lot of things to me nowadays sound like that when somebody's like just straight up just reading, like they put in a prompt and then they're just reading the whole thing, like straight, no like changing things around, no put in your own words, no like I'll take a thing over here and put it together like this, no modification or whatever, straight up like reading it. It grinds my gears a little bit. I don't use ChatGPT because Grog told me it knows where I live. Oh no.
Any property she brought into the marriage became his, and she couldn't own or manage property independently. No control over earnings. Women, especially married ones, had no legal rights to own their wages or income. If they worked, their earnings often legally belonged to their husbands. And it was just like recently that we are allowed to have like a bank account and all that stuff. Inheritance restrictions. While unmarried women might inherit property, their rights were often curtailed compared to male heirs. In many cases, property passed to male relatives rather than daughters or wives. Political rights. No voting rights. Women were almost universally excluded from voting or holding public office. Political participation.
And another thing about this whole, all of these rights that women used to not have, the legal rights shit that she's listing out here. Okay, that's true, but how does that relate to the topic? Like, okay, so we didn't have these things, and now we have these things. How is that helping society? Because she's the helping, side of the debate. So, how is that actually helping society? Actually, how is that helping society? Because, okay, the things are different. Is it okay? So what? Like, so far, not getting a whole lot, but we'll let her cook. Maybe there's something there. Maybe she's getting to it. She's got this whole list, and we're gonna get there.
Participation was seen as a male domain, and women were considered unfit for such responsibilities. No legal voice. They couldn't serve on juries, testify in court in many instances, or participate in the creation of enforcement of laws. Education and employment. Limited education, access to formal education was restricted. Most women were educated only in domestic skills like sewing or household cooking, cleaning, and all that stuff, rather than academic subjects. Higher education institutions like universities were close to them. Employment barriers. Women's work was largely confined to domestic sphere or low paying jobs. Like seamstress, servants. Professional careers like law, medicine, etc., were inaccessible, and societal norms discouraged women from working outside the home, especially after marriage. Okay, so marriage and family. Subordination in marriage. Wives were legally and socially subordinated to.
She's even reading like the headers. You know what I mean? Like,
their husband. They had little to no say in family decision, and obedience was expected. Divorce was rare, difficult to obtain, and usually only granted on terms favoring men. Custody rights. In the rare case of separation or divorce, women typically lost custody of their children as fathers were seen as the legal guardians. No reproductive autonomy. Women had no control over family planning on their own bodies within marriage. Contraceptions was limited, often illegal, and marital consent was not recognized concept, meaning husbands had unrestricted sexual access. And you know what, like it variation across cultures and class, upper versus lower classes, we can go on into there, but like, in just a short form, that's just what I wanted to tell you, that this is where we were before. And you can see obviously throughout the years where we are now, we can see women in all kinds of profession. Women are independent, they're making their own money, they're in politics, and they're actually doing better than most men. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that's a terrible opening statement. You were just like, oh, okay, so things were like this, and now they're different, so that's it. Thank you. Like, what? Ma'am. Come on. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. She could do better than that. Let's see here. Let me catch up. ChatGPT for logical calculations, Google for credible sources where GPT can hallucinate. Yep. absolutely. I don't know if voting is bad for society. I don't know about that. She's not even trying to perform while reading. She could never be an actress. Yeah, it's like reading the headers too. Come on. Correct me if I'm wrong. If she's going to DebateCon, if I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe she might be. I think I think she was considering it or something. I think they discussed it during the video at some point, and that she was considering it. Maybe that was somebody else. Men having sexual access to the wives is bad. Well, she said unrestricted, basically, like marital essay is what she's talking about there. Like, if you could say no, kind of thing. Yeah, she's listing all the things that feminism has accomplished, and that's what she said in the beginning. But she hasn't said. Oops, I don't know. I just undid my Fitbit. But she didn't say like why that's good for society. She just said like, oh well, this was different, and now it's like that. Now this is how things were, and now things aren't like that. So yeah, but I think the debate itself would be like showing like why is that better, like why are these things better, why are women having, why is it better that women have jobs now, and things like that, like why is that actually, I already said it better.
Much for that opening. We're going to kick it over to Jimbob.
One last thing, you should go debate Andrew at DebateCon. I do not travel, unfortunately. Maybe if they go to like another city at some point that's nearby, we'll see.
Jimbob in just a moment. But first, folks, if you are new to Modern Day Debate, I'm your host, Dr. James Coons. We're a fully neutral debate platform here. And if you didn't know, DebateCon 6, featuring, in fact, Made by Jimbob, Andrew Wilson, Jacob Rattlesnake TV, will be in Nashville, Tennessee, November 15th and 16th. You can get your tickets right now, and you should, because we're expected to sell out. You can check out that link for the tickets pinned at the top of the chat and in the description box.
Yeah, like debate in general first, yeah, for sure. I've done a few panels, but I haven't really done a lot of debate. I'm not like a debate person that does debate, that has any debate practice whatsoever. I enjoy watching it. I'm a debate connoisseur of the watch it on YouTube kind, not a DIY kind.
You don't want to miss it. Grab that link right now. With that, Jimbob, thanks very much for being with us as well. The floor is all yours. You might be on mute. Let me check. Ready
There
for
you
you.
go. Sorry. Yeah, I heard in the opening there that women, it's better that they live on their own terms now. That's not even true. If it were true that women live on their own terms, they would actually be able to give themselves the rights that you said that they were granted by men with guns. So not only is that untrue that they're living on their own terms, they're actually living entirely.
Okay, right away he's all like getting into the whole rights are granted by men with guns thing, and women should just grant themselves the rights, and okay. I'm not gonna go into the whole rights thing because that's gonna derail the whole thing. That's a separate thing, and I have like a 12-part thing about that, and you know what, I should probably release a follow-up because and make it like a concise, shorter video, maybe if people don't want to watch the 12-part series on it, but there's so much wrong with that. Like on the surface it sounds like, yeah, okay, I mean, it's mostly men that have the guns and we need to defend our rights with the guns because some people, but and the whole like, well women should just grant themselves rights, but I think they do kind of get into a little bit, so I'll let them get there because I think they do discuss the whole like government aspect of it and everything. I am a critic of the debate's art, not a participant. Is it a legitimate niche? I guess it could be, but I don't know. I'd like to give it a try. I think I could potentially be okay at it. I don't think I could be like good at it because I'm not. I'm pretty like non-confrontational as like a personality trait, I guess. In general, I'm not good at confrontation, but I think I could be okay, like relatively okay at it. Because I'm pretty pretty logical, I think. Obviously, not like the most logical, best logical person in the world, but I think I'm like pretty good at logical stuff, considering it's part of my job.
Really dependent on the force and the labor of men. Going back into history a little bit.
Sure, all genders are dependent on each other. There's no good reason to like split them up, but I suppose it's a feminism thing, which is splitting them up in the first place. So I could kind of see why it's done here, but whatever. Plus, sports debate is as cringe to improv comedy. Yeah, I did go on a panel. I have all the guts, full of guts.
Some people don't realize when you study women's liberation, you come upon some really interesting points of fact.
We'll speed up a little bit because, oops, I didn't mean to break that.
I also believe in
it's a great idea.
It's gonna take forever if
they would actually be able to.
Was limited, often illegal.
I'm sorry, I broke it.
TV will.
I didn't mean to break it.
Actually.
I did not mean to break it. I don't know why that happened. Let's do a little bit because I don't want to like 2 sounds like a lot all at once. We'll try like 1.5 and then we'll go up a little bit if it's okay still, because I want to still be able to understand it.
Actually be able to give themselves the rights that you said that they were granted by men with guns. So not only is that untrue that they're living on their own terms, they're actually living entirely dependent on the force and the labor of men.
Did she say that they're living on their own terms? I don't know, maybe I missed that, but I don't know if that's exactly what she said. Maybe I missed it, but I remember her saying that.
Going back into history a little bit, some people don't realize when you study women's liberation, you come upon some really interesting points of fact when you go back. For instance, during the suffrage, which really kicked off this kind of phase of modern feminism. By the way, all forms of feminism are completely trash. Back when women's suffrage started, there was an all-female referendum, the only one that existed in Massachusetts in 1895, and only 4% of eligible women bothered to even vote. In 57 total towns, not a single woman voted for suffrage. Now, case in point, Susan B. Anthony, one of the loudest faces in the movement, she actually set up structures to oppose women in these referendums, knowing that they would vote against what they were pushing, right? And you say, why was this? Well, Susan B. Anthony actually said, well, they don't know better. It sounds awfully like the argument my opponent is levying against men, that women don't know better. Well, Susan B. Anthony levied that exact argument against the women who said, no, we actually don't want the right to vote. We don't want this, right? And so she says she blames their conditional servitude. Suffrage leaders like Anna Howard Shaw and the rest, they kept proposing referendums, and continuously what happened is the women, the mothers, the virtuous women of society who felt it was their duty and obligation to society to raise good human beings, the best place for them, the best thing for them to do was raise the next generation of awesome, good people, not to compete with men in arenas where even later today, they are still completely...
So here's a good example. I promise I'm going to be done with the rights thing unless they bring it up again after this, but I hear a lot like, oh, well, women can't grant themselves rights or whatever. Just look at Saudi Arabia, or not Saudi Arabia, whatever Middle Eastern country they choose, and even then, basically where they have not as many legal rights as we do here, basically. So I hear that a lot, and they're like, oh, well, look over here, because here in some of these Middle Eastern countries, women don't have legal rights, and they can't do anything about it because the men are holding them down, and they just can't do it. Like, it's impossible for them. It's impossible for women to get rights unless men are just so like acting like a benefactor and giving it to them because they're so nice. Okay, so here's an example of why that's not proof of anything, because in a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, religion and their culture is very important to them, and part of that is women being subservient to men and acting a certain way. So just because they don't go out there and demand their rights doesn't mean that they can't. It's just most of them don't want to for whatever reason. Like, if they wanted to have these legal rights more than they wanted to adhere to their current like religious values and their family like structure and all of that like cultural all those cultural expectations. If they wanted that more, they would have it. Everything regarding rights, and not just rights, but just everything in general that people do is a sort of cost-benefit analysis. And they could make it anybody at any time, women, men, children, could go out there and make it more costly for somebody to fight them than just grant them whatever it is that they want. So if you make something costly enough, and even children could be capable of this. If children didn't have certain rights and they all went out there and started demanding something a certain way and gave up certain things and demanded things in a certain way, anybody could do it. Women, anybody. So the fact that women are just incapable of this because in some places they're not going out and demanding rights and saying, well, give us rights or else, doesn't mean they can't do it. And here he is giving an example of, well, these women didn't even want the voting thing. They were happy doing the mother thing. They had all of these religious and traditional values, and they didn't want to do that. So clearly something changed along the way, and right now here it's different. But maybe that's where they're at over in the Middle Eastern countries. They still have all these values, traditional values that they're holding on to. So saying that they don't, that's why they don't have rights, is because they're just being like forced down and they can't do anything about it whatsoever. They're just stuck because they're female. Here he's basically proving himself wrong. So I'm just saying, he's providing an example of women choosing not to take those legal rights for themselves. Let's see here. Let me catch up here. Lives on her cat's terms. I am a cat and bird lady. And yeah, maybe it's because she provided all this historical stuff. Maybe that's why he's pulling in this historical stuff. But it seems like they both had whatever their opening thing here prepared ahead of time. So I don't know, maybe I'll just a line like that. Women need to be liberated from the patriarchy. The only ones that can grant themselves rights are the ones in power. Jimbob can't grant himself rights either. Yeah, so the whole like grant yourself rights, I think that's kind of forcing you into a corner linguistically, because it's not granting yourself rights, it's demanding them in a way that makes it costly enough for whoever's keeping them from you to relinquish them back to you. So that's sort of how rights have been, at least legal rights have been granted throughout, well, forever, is somebody goes out there, makes a big ruckus, and makes it more costly to fight them than it is to go ahead and just give them what they want. Let's see here. Susan B. Anthony was a feminist. He's pointing out that feminism is a power politics movement and not some pure philosophy. Totally legit. And her being on for women are as relevant today. Culture is the things we do that the monkeys don't. Yeah, that's right. I can't believe that forced doctrine is the official Orthodox Church view on rights. It's not. It is not. Orthobros pretty much have a Platonic view on universalist why not rights. I actually have a video on, I think one of my forced doctrine related videos is focused on how the Orthodox Church doesn't, the teachings of the Orthodox Church don't align with his forced doctrine. Why Orthodox theology rejects forced doctrine. Let me copy that. So if somebody wants to check that out later, maybe you could open a new tab or something and save that for later, but I believe it is that one. So I actually funny you say that. Funny you say that, because I actually did a thing about that a while back. But I think I do need to revisit this forced doctrine thing, because it keeps coming up, and it's been like the more I do YouTube, and then where I do like practice editing and things like that. And I think I could probably make like a more polished video that's a little bit more concise, that has bits of everything in it, that isn't forcing somebody to sit through like 12 things of kind of pieces, when I could kind of put the strongest points together in one little thing. But then every time I try to do that, somebody comes, oh, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, okay, that's a different video. I already did that. So, all right, I'm done ranting now. I'm going to go ahead and resume, and then we'll catch up with chat again in a bit.
Completely outperformed. Women's membership in the anti-suffrage activist organization outnumbered the women's membership in the pro. So the anti always outweighed. Now, it's interesting that the rhetoric is always what women wanted, what women want, what do women want now? Well, it turns out historically, and for about 70 years, actually, what women wanted was exactly the opposite of what these goblins were pushing on them at the time, right? So just for a little bit of context, right? Around the passage of about 70 years after the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, it was after 70 years, still people weren't agreeing with this. Women. It was women. It's not men, taping their mouths shut. Don't talk, lady. The women were saying, no, we don't want this. Now, a couple of misconceptions here. Women were never formally or legally barred from education. That's often a talking point. Tracking back to 1970, women have had higher literacy and higher school graduation rates than men. Women were never banned from political activism. In fact, they had many successful lobbying organizations. It was the place in which they did things is the only thing that changed, right? So there was already women speaking on behalf of the home, on behalf of children, on behalf of other women, arguing for such things. Case in point, Prohibition came before the 19th Amendment. So that was already in place, and it didn't require them getting some sort of hired status equal to men. It wasn't required, in fact. What else we got here? The fact there's a myth that women were barred from working outside the home. They just chose otherwise, right? They mostly chose otherwise. In fact, there's a backswing now with feminism where women are starting to realize.
And it's weird because here he provides the example of women affecting change, such as the prohibition thing, and there's a bunch of other like laws and things that women sort of forced. I think there was like a thing about in the UK, or back when it was Britain, maybe a while back, they did some kind of white something protest. Oh, I forgot the details. I wasn't really prepared to discuss the whole like rights thing today, so I don't have that top of mind. But there are a lot of examples like this, like he just provided with the prohibition or whatever, where women sort of culturally forced change, like the laws to change, because, well, laws are downstream from culture, so they affected culture in a way that forced laws into being the way they want them to. So acting like women were, there's other times, not obviously here he's saying it for me, but in other places, him and his cohorts act like women didn't have power, or can't have power, or can't affect change, like they're just powerless and helpless, and they are dependent on men to grant them whatever it is they want, but they affect change culturally just fine. So sure, that some of the ways that they do that is different, but that doesn't mean they're not doing it. Like, they're still the ones causing the changes. Let's see here. Murder implies the right to life. If actions against people require justification, then that very requirement proves individual rights. That's Patrick. I don't know how to say your name, Osidoozy. Oh, Osidoozy, that's not bad. I noticed that JB did not go for the precipitous rug pull every chance he got. Something about talking to her made him not so confident in only undercutting and gaslighting like he's used to. Maybe it was being overconfident in feminist history. And Phantom says, but what is murder defined by in the people who have power? And Reformed Christians can use precept and be consistent. Orthodox epistemology is completely elusive because they believe you need the church to interpret it for you, but they can never tell you how. Interesting points here. Interesting points.
You realize, well, maybe it wasn't such a great idea to place ourselves equally and force ourselves into the world of men, into the rat race, into debt. It turns out women, since they've been giving credit cards, hold a pretty fair amount of the consumer debt. To argue that that's a good thing for women is strange, considering I wouldn't argue that's a good thing for men or women. So it's not a good thing for women to be in debt. The voting patterns.
Is that true? I think I remember looking at that before, and that was questionable.
You've heard in all the debates here, the voting patterns, ironic.
Plus, I do most of the shopping for the family, so like I wouldn't be surprised if that was true, but I'm not even sure if that's true.
Lead to more authoritarian power, which needs to be deployed and upheld by men, not by women. So women often vote in favor of some sort of, almost, I call it a daycare center type of governance, but they require men to enforce their wants and needs, right? They can't do it themselves. And that's fine. That's actually more consistent with an anti-feminist approach. Men keeping women safe from these environments, from the feminist movement, it's often seen as derogatory or misogynistic. You should let them in the horrific environments where they get assaulted and abused and murdered and worse, right? For us to want to protect them, that's some awful thing. Now, when we talk about what's better for society, how could something be better for society if the liberation of women?
Sorry, did he say daycare earlier? I've been like stuck on that for this whole time since he said it. Jimbob has a knack for, what is the word? For infantilizing women. He, more than any other Crucible bro that's like one of the more popular ones, he probably is the most like straight up infantilizing of women. I think they all are, but he's not afraid to say it. Out of all of them, he very plainly says very infantilizing things about women, basically equating us to children, which is creepy in all kinds of ways. Go ahead here.
Women leads to literally no society. How can something be good for society if the result is that less and less women have children? How could that be good for society? It can't be good for society. It actually requires women to be homemakers, that for a society to flourish, to actually sustain itself. So it's backwards to say, liberate yourselves, get out of there. You know, there's no duty or obligation as women for society at all, right? So at the same time, there's sort of like an unevenness now because, you know, they want equality. And yet when they say, oh, let us out in the workforce, let us in the places that you guys are in, let us do all the things that you guys do. But when it comes down to enforcing that as some sort of legal norm, they're like, no, we can't do that. You guys have to do that for us. And so the question tonight is, not just what's better for society, whether feminism is better for society. No one could possibly argue that a woman who forfeits the most fertile time of her existence in her 20s to early 30s, mid 30s, forfeits that to pursue a lanyard and some sort of credit and some sort of certificate so that she can continue her debt, right? How could it be good rendering a bunch of women who would otherwise be the mothers of our next generation, rendering them to tired, old, worn out women who are, you know, in their late 40s, hoping to be invited to a wedding so they can talk to some young chap, right? That's not a win for women, okay? The men and women are different. The wins for women are not the same as the wins for men. Feminism is based on an essential lie. The lie is people are equal. People aren't equal. Even among men are not equal. So this idea that people ought to...
Okay. I don't know what he means by equal here. Maybe we'll let him expand on that throughout the debate, but I think that people have equal value. People are not the same. So if it means that people are not the same, sure, duh, like nobody is the same. That's obvious. That's a very obvious thing. Like you don't even have to say that. Like why would you even say that? It's so stupid. But saying they're not equal, which I presume means value here, that's kind of messed up. So I don't want to assume, make an ass out of Yumi, so we'll let him continue with what he's got going on here and see if he gets around to explaining it.
Ought to have rights equally across the board. Well, those are privileges provided by people who you're not equal with. That's why you have to ask them for rights. If women were equal and earned equality, they would actually do what the men do, which is you actually have to fight for that. People actually die for this. Women don't. I mean, women, we don't want them to.
They have, and there's other, you don't necessarily have to die for things to force the hand of others to do what you need them to do, but I've already done my whole spiel on it. I'm not gonna repeat myself here.
Them to either.
I think I get it. Arthur Bro pre-supping is aggressively infantilizing. If he tries to pre-sup argue her, she's probably waiting for that. It says Osie Doozy.
Want to place women in
with a little like bulb
war situations. They're not capable of that, generally speaking. There's a couple of questionable outliers there. Lastly, I want to go to the duties part because I can't say it enough. When someone like my opponent says what's better for women and they're better off pursuing what they want and what they love in the world and everything they want to do, what they're saying is their wants and needs at an individual level is more important than the duty for them to be a part of society and reproduce the next generation of society. Meanwhile, to argue that you ought to have rights, you're arguing simultaneously that someone else has the duty to defend those rights, and never is it you. Never is it you. So my question to
I don't know what he means by never. Like, there's many ways to defend rights. Like, sure, force is part of it, but most of the way that we protect rights is kind of bureaucracy type stuff. Like, governments run mostly on bureaucracy. Very rarely does it get to actual force. Like, if you compare the amount of bureaucracy and paperwork and fines and whatever you get for violating whatever to how many times you actually physically get beat up or even physically threatened, it's way like out of the ballpark, not even comparable.
To the feminists listening and the opposition tonight is simply asking, well, if men have a duty to defend your rights, what duty do you have to society if they're the ones defending your rights? You have no duties. Feminism has 0 duties, and it's impossible to say something's good for society over time if there's no duty.
I don't know what he means by feminism has 0 duties. Feminism isn't like a person first, so I don't know what he means by that, but if we're a little generous here and kind of give him some more leeway and say that, okay, well, maybe he's talking about women. Do women, like feminist women, have duties? Sure, everybody has duties to everybody else. You have a duty not to murder other people. Other people have the same duty not to murder you and others, and you have a duty not to steal, etc. Things like that. So everybody has a duty to respect others' rights and protect them when possible. So I think that applies to everybody pretty much across the board. So I don't know what he means by that. Like, that feminism has no duties
at all. It's all feminism is me, I want stuff, I have grievances, give me what I love, and what it results in, higher divorce rates, a splitting of the family as a unit, a movement away from traditionalism, a movement away from decency, and a direction toward females. This is another point, I'll finish up here.
Females. Anytime somebody uses females to refer to women, you know that they're like a red pill or bro. Like, that's such a giveaway. Like, who talks like that? Oh, well, males do this. Female, like, we're not talking about biology here. Like, what? That is so cringe. Patrick says, I think he means under feminism, women have obligations unique to them as opposed to men whose duties remain. Yeah, we'll get there, but we'll get there. The
females, their leverage is sex and motherhood. That's their leverage in society. Men's leverage is power, brute force, okay? The problem with feminism as it's posed is it sells women this idea to take the thing they have leverage over men, sex, being a mother, their purity, right? Their virginity. Let's get down to it. Their virginity.
I don't know what he means by like leverage here. That's weird for you to think of, like, the relationships. I can't speak. The relationships between men and women, for you to constantly think of them as this like transactional leverage, like conflict sort of thing. Like, starting from there, you've already lost. Like, if that's how you think about the world, where everything is men versus women, do men this and women that, and oh, how is it like even? Are we gonna get this like perfectly even and straight? Are we gonna fight? Well, what if we start fighting each other? What is it like? Men start fighting the women start fighting the men. Who's gonna win? Like, all of those things are so cringe. Like, if that's how you think about relationship, well, I can't say that word today. I don't know why. Like, of all the words, I can't say the word relationship today. I don't know why. But for some reason, it's that particular concept is so what's the word I'm looking for? Were you like aggressive? Like, were you? You know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna sit here and think of the word. Nobody likes when anybody does that. But you know what I mean? Like, when you're turning something into a fight that doesn't need to be a fight.
Is their leverage. And feminism teaches those women to use that and spread it thinly over many men, many strangers in society. And they call that.
I don't know what he means by that. Like, maybe some feminists do that, but you could say the same thing about the red pill. Like, some people who are red pill teach men to be complete hoes. And okay, you could say, well, red pill doesn't teach men to be hoes. It's just some of them. It's like, okay, I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Liberation. I call it nonsense.
Thank you very much for that opening statement. Two quick housekeeping things before we jump into the open dialogue. First, as you can see at the bottom right of your screen, Andrew Wilson and Casey Malone collide tomorrow on Christian Nationalism on Trial, 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Also, really quick, we have found that our Facebook page,
I don't know why I did that.
p.m. tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Also, exactly as our YouTube Facebook page, basically or left-leaning. A second, that Facebook link.
To say that feminism is all about me, 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 me. Well, it was always about men, 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 and what is good for men, starting with, the religions that we follow, created by men, for men, everything written in there is for men. And what my opponent just reduced me down to was just a whole that I was given by, God or whoever made me, and my value is going to be defined on that whole and the purity that it brings. Do you understand? So I am not looked upon as a human being. Like, I have no feelings, no nothing. I should be only used for my whole, and my purpose is to birth kids, stay at home, and that's it. That's all I am worth.
Okay, let's stop there. Hold on. One thing at a time. I'll take things that were never said for 500, Alex. No, I actually referred to motherhood as one of the most important duties women could bring to society. Is mothering reducing you to a strict hole? The act of being a mother, are you a mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay, when you mother your child and show them love and guidance, are you being a whole?
No, it's
okay,
you
good.
that you're virgins. That was, no, that's a virgin. You said we have to be virgins.
What did I say?
To show our purity.
No, I didn't say that. I said your leverage. Would you agree that men's leverage in society is pure power, pure force?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, if you had to ask men for rights, it's because you couldn't actually take them and make them yourself. You needed the brute force, right?
You're asking men for it. You're asking the government, which, well, and it depending on the case, is men or women, but splitting it up by gender is arbitrary here. Like, there's no good reason to do that because that's not what it's about. Like, if it, I don't know. I'm just not a fan about making this all like men versus women thing. It's weird. And I understand that part of it is, okay, well, it's women as a gender are the ones that sometimes didn't have legal rights. But that doesn't mean that they were asking like only men. They were also asking other women because, like in his example, it was other women that didn't want to vote. They didn't want the other women to vote. So they were asking society as a whole, like, should women, part of society, have these legal rights? And other women also didn't want them. Like he said, like at the time, there were other women that didn't want them either. So a lot of it was up to them as well. Some of them had to be convinced and change their minds of, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not like you're only asking men. You're asking society and you're asking the government. And I think, like we've established, and I would say most people I've come across agree that politics is downstream from culture, and I think women probably have more of a hold over culture than men do. Overall, I think it's not unreasonable to say that women have quite a bit of power over politics as well, being downstream from culture itself. So even when they didn't have the right to vote or whatever, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that yet. So. And we'll get there. I don't want to just blab too much.
Told everything.
That's right, because of brute force, right? Okay, because of brute force. So you agree that men.
Here, I don't know why she. Again, her arguments are terrible and cringe, and this whole like everything is brute force thing, that's also bullshit. It's clearly not the case.
Peculiar to men as a group, right, is that we have brute force, right? That's a leverage, right? It's unfair almost. It's like, oh, it's unfair, they're stronger, right? Okay, I'm asking you from your position, what leverage do women have if men's leverage is force?
To men, is birthing kids.
Yes. Is that a strong leverage point?
I don't think so, no.
It's not. So why is it that if it's not a strong leverage point, what followed suit in the feminist liberation?
Again, this leverage thing is so cringe. I can't get over how cringe the leverage thing is because there are things that overall men are better at than women, and there are things that women are, like, as in general, better at than men. But calling it like leverage over what, the other gender, like that's not how the world works. People don't go around thinking, like at least most normal people that aren't like red pilled, they don't go around thinking like, oh well, I have leverage over the women because I'm stronger and I could come and do whatever I want them anytime because I'm stronger and I'm just so benevolent and nice that I choose not to do that, so they should be thanking me. Like nobody thinks that. Or like, I don't do that because, they have leverage over me because, they can pop out a kid and I can't. So therefore, we gotta do this whole negotiation thing because we both have leverage and we gotta negotiate it out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that is so weird. That they don't hear themselves, do they? Because that is so weird.
liberation movement was free sexuality? Was it all directed towards sexuality?
That's not to have kids.
I understand, but
About sexual partners, but not about kids.
I know. What is sex for inside a society?
What do you mean? What is sex for?
What's the
inside a
best-
society?
A lot of
Depending which
things.
society are you talking
Okay,
about? A
this is-
religious society?
Regardless, any society that needs human beings to maintain the society, would you agree that sex, one of the purposes of sex would be to procreate, right?
Yeah. mhm.
Okay. From your view, do you have any
One of.
duty as a woman to procreate to society?
I don't have a duty. I
Right.
can, but I don't think I have
Okay.
a duty that
So
I
you-
have to have a child.
Okay, so if we all held your view, if all the women in the world, in the society held your view, they would hold a view that they have no duty to maintain the next generation of society.
Yeah.
Okay, and from your view, you
What does that have to do with anything? Like, if all this is like, this gives that whole, well, if all men got together, they couldn't save all the women argument. Like, well, okay, sure, if all of anything did all the same thing at the same time, we'd be pretty screwed. Like, if all kids demanded pancakes for breakfast on one day, the economy would collapse. Like, what? Okay, like, so, like, what? So what?
you get to live out your life without a duty to maintain and produce the next generation of society, meanwhile expecting the men who hold the majority of force, the monopoly of force, to protect.
Okay. Do we know what monopoly means? Monopoly. So I think last time I was looking into this for the whole like force doctrine series, women are like 15% of the police force, for instance. I didn't look into the military, probably something similar. So 85% isn't monopoly, okay? Sure, men are a majority of like physical enforcers. That doesn't mean it's a monopoly. So just because you're a single gender, just because a single gender is the majority of something doesn't mean that that gender is like entitled to something special or what, like that. That makes no sense. Like there's a lot of different disparities in all kinds of things. Like maybe a certain race has a certain thing about having like less money than other races in general. It doesn't mean that that race or other race or any other particular race has we like assign them different things financially. Like that shouldn't be the case. We should assign financial need based on like we should assign financial benefits based on financial need, not based on race. So, for instance, if say there's a city and like 80% of say that the majority of people who are poor in that city happen to be black. Say like 80% of the poor people are happen to be black. We don't go and say, okay, well now all the black people get financial benefits. We say, well, all of the poor people get financial benefits if you do the whole financial benefits thing, which is a different topic. It's a different topic entirely, whether people should get benefits or not. But it would be wrong to say, well, the black people get it. Because it would be better to say that people who are financially needy get it, because that would make more sense, right? And if it just so happens that like the majority of them end up being black, like so what? So it doesn't have anything to do with the concept of what's being done. Let me catch up in chat here, because and I think I'll once it I kind of get all my thoughts out in the beginning here, I'll let more of it play at a time, because there's just so much right away that like ugh. But once we get past the like intro bit, I think it'll go a little faster, because I don't want to get stuck in like the middle of the video or the beginning of the video forever. Females. I think Phantom says, I think he's telling on himself about his and his wife relationship. I would not be surprised. Didn't they used to be leftists too? So I don't know if they actually changed and suddenly became traditional, or if this is some sort of like for YouTube or what, I don't know. But I heard that they were not always conservative like that until like someone recently. Let's see. Patrick says they both make the relations of the sexes an adversarial hostile trade negotiation. Yeah, I could see that. And her too. I mean, I'm not excluding her from that. She's also like on the defense, like, oh well, women were oppressed by this thing and now we gotta not as obvious as he is doing. So we'll see if she gets there. Maybe it'll become more obvious, this whole like men versus women thing. But he seems to be doing that like way more obviously than she is. But I'm sure she's doing that as well on some level. Chicken nuggets. He views the world like a pickup artist. Yeah. Pickopolis. Virginia is leveraged to who? Creepy ass job. Says guest services. It's people who think of women as valuable objects only when they are virgins. Yeah. The whole thing, like, well, we'll let it play because I don't want to get stuck. But yeah.
Generation of society. Meanwhile, expecting the men who hold the majority of force, the monopoly of force, to protect your pursuit of a duty-less life.
I said majority doesn't mean monopoly, right? I think he's using that interchangeably here. And I swear I'll let it play after this. But so earlier he's like, well, what duty do women have? Because men have this monopoly on force. So I think he wants her to say that women should do the whole kids thing, but he's also saying that basically everything is dependent on force. Like if not for force, like making it really this like central point, and everything else is kind of whatever. You can force your way into anything. So if men have this monopoly on this thing, force, that is the end all and be all of all the things, then by that logic, it would make sense that men would have all of the duties that come with it if they have the monopoly on the thing that matters the most and can decide everything else. Like once you have force, everything else falls into place because you can whip everybody into submission, supposedly. So, like, even by his logic, what he's saying doesn't make sense. Not that I agree with any of that, obviously, but even by what he's saying, it just doesn't fit. Doesn't fit together.
They have a duty to protect your duty-less life, right?
See, the thing is, we're not talking about which era are you talking about. We have a lot of duties now.
No. Listen to the question.
No, I didn't.
You're not answering my question. I simply asked this.
No. The thing was that you mentioned a lot of points. You didn't even let me finish, and you just got me on there. Oh, with the kids and this and this. No, you stated that our purity is being virgins. You specifically said that.
That's your
right?
power. Your power.
No, that's not our power. Why? If I am not a virgin, do I lose my power?
A little bit. You lose a little bit of your leverage.
Why?
I'm sorry. I'll tell you. You lose some of your leverage in society the more partners you gain.
How will you know how many partners I have?
Well, unless you're a liar, you'll ask.
Oh, men don't lie. People don't lie. I can tell anything. What are you going to measure? How are you going to measure how many partners I've been with?
Whoa.
Okay, so there is something to that, because when, like, as a woman, probably as any gender, but it definitely matters more for women. The more partners you have, the more likely it is that you would cut out some of your dating pool out. Like you would have less options because of the men that care more about those kinds of things, which apparently is becoming more and more rare to care about that stuff. But I don't know. I don't have the stats, so I won't make any claims about that. But it is true that you are sort of losing out on some dating options. But to say make it all into this leverage thing again, and not only leverage in like dating, because I mean sure, it's the wording is cringe and everything, the concept is cringe, but sure, you could fit it right into the whole dating thing. But here it's society, like not like, oh, you might have less options for like less dating prospects. It's society, you have leverage, and societally you will have less of it. Like what?
Whoa. If you meet someone and you want to marry them and that comes up and that's important to them, they might ask. Now, it turns out that it's less important to women how many partners men have. Why do you think that is?
It's not. It's important to me how many partners anybody that I'm dating, it's important to me, and guys don't tell.
I think it is true that women overall tend to care less of their man, that if the men that dated had more partners, like they have a higher threshold for how many is too many. I think that is actually true. But like her saying, "Oh, well, I care." So what? So what if you care? Like that doesn't mean that women overall, like the majority of them, care slightly less than men. So, if I guess there's it says if all workers went on strike on the same day, it would cripple the wealthy. Therefore, communism. Yeah, same concept. Like, Yeah, if all of anybody did something, some particular single thing, all at the same time, society would be ruined regardless of whatever the thing is and whoever the all of everything are, as long as there are like a large enough group.
Doesn't tell you the truth.
Why is
anyway.
it? So you admit it is important.
It is important to a
Okay,
certain extent.
Okay, so if leverage, if it's a point of contention and it's something that might affect your future in starting a relationship and settling down with someone, if for both people it's important to keep your body count down, then you admit that sex and staying pure, the least amount of partners is probably a good thing for you, right?
No. What you're saying
you're in a
is
contradiction.
you gotta be a virgin.
I didn't say
and you
gotta be
lose
anything.
value. Hang on. A man doesn't lose value. Doesn't matter how many
I know.
women he sleeps with,
But a
right?
woman
That's
does.
your thinking. That's your thinking.
But a woman does.
Right? Because see, the thing is, all women have wanted is not even equality. We just
He's not wrong here, but how does that tie into like helping or harming society? Like, sure, you have less options for dating, but I mean, you could still find somebody. Like, it's not like you're crippled or anything.
just want to be
We don't
treated
care
as
what
human beings.
you are
Okay,
treated as
can you
human
please let me
beings.
talk? Can you? No, you're not treating us as human beings. Human
Really?
beings are not locked in the door and provide sex whenever they want and have as
You mean
many
like
babies as
OnlyFans?
you want.
You mean like
and take care of
OnlyFans?
those babies.
Obviously, that's not what she was talking about, and obviously that is nothing like the OF platform. Okay, so OF, I'm not like defending the concept. I think it's disgusting, but I don't think it should be like illegal or anything. I do think it's gross though, but it's different. Like if you think about it logically, you're not like locked behind a door forced to do these things. Usually it's a woman wants to go ahead and do that, and they're not locked behind anything. They're willingly going out there and, being the hoes that they are. They're not, it's not a forced with a man thing. Totally different concept. So throwing OF in there, I think he just wanted to get to, he really wanted to connect like feminism and the OF platform and with how like bad it is and whatever, and he wanted to turn that into the topic, and he wasn't finding a good spot to do it, so he just forced it in here. That's what that comes across. Like he had points prepared about like feminism and OF together, and it's just a kind of gross transition because it obviously has nothing to do with what she's saying, but this is probably like the best chance he was gonna get to, shove it in there. There's probably a little bit of biology in that for women. There's never any doubt who the mother is for a very long time. That could be for the man. And you can be a virgin and an OF. Yeah, that is true. Unlikely, but that is true. And sure, I have heard many times on, especially they like to cover this a lot on the whatever podcast and all kinds of red pill things where, well, how do you know who the father is? You could not have, like, regardless of how many people you have, done it in the past, that's not really going to help like paternity. Sure, you could kind of, it might give you like a slightly higher chance that maybe this person won't go out and hoe around, and but that's not, especially now with, yeah, I honestly, like, I understand the concept and I understand like where they're coming from with the whole like paternity thing, and but I just don't know how much of that is like encoded into our genes or whatever. Like I just don't think that that's something, I think it's unlikely to be something that we're like built in with. So I don't know. I think it's more of a cultural thing than anything.
babies.
Is doing OnlyFans treating yourself as a human being?
Why not?
Yes. Honestly, like, I think it's gross, but I don't think you're treating yourself less human if you show your tits online or whatever. Like,
What's wrong with it?
It is? Okay. So your argument is you're a sex object, yet it's liberating for women to treat themselves as a sex object, purely. Nice.
Women were always
okay, there's a difference between other people forcing you and you voluntarily. You know what I mean? Like, that's an obvious big difference, right? Like, am I crazy? Like, obviously, right? Like, what is he talking about? What I meant is that uncertainty was expanded upon until a woman's sexual past is important. is that uncertainty was expanded upon until a woman's sexual past. Until a woman's sexual past is important. Maybe I'm not reading that right.
Always treated as sex object. You guys had women slaves.
Are you
sex
not
slaves
listening?
back
Are you
in the
not?
days.
Is it?
No, because women have
listening.
always been subjugated to sex and used for sexual pleasure of
And
men.
now?
This
And
is
now?
the first. Hang on, let me finish. This is the first time in the history with OnlyFans that women actually controlled that money and
Oh,
more
so
of that
powerful.
money
Yeah.
than when we had the porn stars, when we had Pornhub. Those women didn't get paid.
I find that so annoying when somebody's trying to say something and somebody goes, and like talking. Let her finish. Okay, what she's saying is like, kind of, but let her finish. Like,
is that good? Is that good for
Nowadays,
women?
I see the OnlyFans girls, they actually are investing their money into smart things. They're not blowing it up in drugs.
Okay, cool.
I don't know about that. I mean, sure, some of them might be investing in whatever, but what they do with their money, like, I don't know what any of this has to do with, like, is feminism helping or harming society, unless you, like, you're
right. There's not a
drawing,
habitual correlation between pornography.
drawing a straight line between, like, oh, feminism makes OnlyFans, and OnlyFans is, like, the root of all evil in society, and therefore, like, which sure, you could make that argument, but I'm not hearing that line being drawn.
In drugs, okay. Is it
about OnlyFans and
is OnlyFans good for women?
See, we were talking about something else, purity, and you jumped onto OnlyFans. Is it good for women? I'm no one to judge anybody. If it is,
yeah. So you're no one to judge, but you are someone to judge if men look at women and say, you know what, it's better for you and better for a future family for you not to do these things. It's actually better for both of us if we don't have a lot of partners, sexual partners, men and women. But the point is, what I'm trying to draw out with you is this.
No. Men say that we can sleep with as many as we want, and that is actually encouraged.
What?
The more a man he's looked at as a player, but if a woman sleeps with a lot of guys, she's a slut. That is just
right.
That is what we do, right?
I know. Why is it?
A slut is a slut. If you're sleeping with 100 guys, 100 women, you're a slut too.
Who are the gatekeepers of sex?
Sometimes women.
The only time women are not the gatekeepers of sex is when a man forces himself on a woman, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So stop. So you agree?
You stop. That's so annoying.
That for the most part, 99% of the time, absent some horrific act, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Does that mean being a gatekeeper, is that equal to having leverage?
Well, it depends. Gatekeepers. We're not gatekeepers when we're married and we don't want to have sex, and we were forced into having sex and forced into.
That doesn't. Okay, that's a bad response. I don't know what she's talking about there. That's not what he's. That's not an answer to him. This gatekeepers thing is also weird. Like what? Like the only way I could possibly reason through that is like men want to have sex more often than women. Therefore, like it's up to women if the sex happens or not. Like that's the only way I can really reason through that. But rephrasing it that as like women are the gatekeepers of sex, I just I find that it doesn't sound right. Like, sure, it's probably true that men want to have more sex more often than women do, but that just means that it so happens that men tend to want to have sex more often than women. That doesn't mean that there's like a gate that is being kept and that women have this like concept of like, oh well, we decide, because both people have to decide to sleep with each other. Like, I think you could argue, like in biology, a lot of times it is very often that like the female will like select a partner based on like, say there's a bird and the male birds have to do this like dance, like elaborate dance, or like arrange some sticks on the ground, and they'll like attract a female, and like the females will choose like the best one, and it's very clear that like you could say, okay, so the female birds are the gatekeepers of their like cloacas rubbing together. Should birds have cloacas? Yeah, they don't have like, but they have like a little hole. Yeah. Anyway, so I could see that, but with people in modern society, with people, it doesn't sound right to say that. Like, I'm sure you could still sort of draw some parallels there if you tried hard enough, but in modern society, it's both people sort of impressing each other. Women put on the makeup and the heels, and the men, shave a certain way or smell nice, whatever. We dress up for each other. We both have these like rituals of making ourselves more attractive to the other that we're doing. It's not like with birds where it's a bunch of male birds have to do this dance and the woman will come and pick one and the men will just be okay, well, this one picked me. I got nothing. I'm not really even choosing. I'm like, I'll take what I can get. While I think in modern human society, we pick each other. There's not this. I'm not seeing this gatekeeping concept in practice. I'm really not seeing it. I'm sorry. Like, it's not. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't for us. We're not birds. Should catch up with chat here. Just because women in general care less if men sleep with a lot of women, fornication is still a sin for men. Jimbob treats his Christianity like a salad bar and John critiques as guest services. Chicken nugget spoon. Bring up the. You know what? I was gonna catch myself and like rephrase the like naughty words, but I think any lives even if I do at some point like grow my channel big enough to get monetized, I don't think any of these lives are gonna get monetized. There's just too much in there. So bring up the prawn as a means to advance women's liberation is a bad look. Women are treated horribly and subject to extremely bad work conditions, underpaid, etc. in the prawn industry. Yeah, I think like a traditional prawn, maybe some of that, but I think that's what she was kind of saying about the OF platform, where women have more control over it. There's less, because a lot of it is women like in their own bedroom doing their thing. So I don't know. I kind of see something there, but regardless, it's gross. It's not true. There are men who aren't interested in sex when those men get asked. They are the gatekeepers. Yep. Not if you're gay. Paradise birds are fascinating. I think he misunderstood what he meant by monopoly on force, numerical headcount, or the economic usage isn't what he meant. Okay. Well, if you want to elaborate more, I'm happy to read it, but...
Hello. I didn't ask about marriage. I'm talking about pre-marriage. Are you not the gatekeepers of sex?
No.
Yeah, it's up to us to have sex. Yes.
That's right. Is that leverage?
It's up to both genders to have sex. You're wrong. Wrong, lady.
I don't think so. It's leverage. I don't use my vagina as a leverage against anybody. I don't know why you keep bringing that up.
Okay. Yeah, do women use their vagina as leverage?
No.
Some women probably do, not all.
Okay, so it's
that's not like a regular thing that women do. Like, sure, if you're like in an abusive relationship and either partner is like withholding sex as a way to manipulate, like not because they just happen to not feel like it or whatever, but like legitimately like, oh well, unless you do this, I'm not gonna do that or whatever. Like, sure, that's an example, but that's not something that women as a gender, like, that's not built in with the woman thing. Like, what is he talking about? I don't know if he's got like personal anecdotal feelings or examples with what he's talking about there, and he just assumes that everybody else is like that too, but that's not how that's supposed to work. Chicken nugget. I don't want to live in the world of Jimbob. Yeah, I agree.
It's possible because
it's a sad world.
I'm trying to find for you, actually. I'm trying to find from your view, if we both agree, I heard you say it in the other debates, you agree with me and you say men have a monopoly on brute force, right? We do.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, what do women have?
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
As a leverage point, if it's not brute force, what is it?
We have a lot to offer to the society, right?
I didn't ask what you have to offer.
Not just our vaginas.
Yeah, a lot isn't a good answer.
Not see what you're trying to say is that what we have.
But the whole like, what does each gender have to offer society? That's a stupid question. That is a stupid like men versus women war kind of question. I think I've already ranted enough about that, but that's on the same. That's right in the same pile as if all men got together and yeah.
Is we control the world with our vaginas.
I didn't ask what you have to offer. I asked.
Why is he yelling?
What do you have for a leverage? That's different. You know what I mean by leverage?
Nowadays, we have a lot of leverage. We have a lot of different societal roles that we play besides from just being a wife and a mother.
Can you tell me what you think I mean by leverage?
again, you know, I'll just let it play, but I think we all understand how I feel about this whole like leverage and the whole man versus woman thing that he's playing off of. But her answers are not good. Like, these are not good answers.
Control.
Yeah, some influence, right? So if men control the brute force and the law and upholding your rights and upholding the law and the rest of it, including, like, you know, generally speaking, military at the world level as well, what I'm asking from you is, because they have that leverage, the leverage they have, do you think that men should use the leverage that they have with responsibility, that they have a duty to use it responsibly?
They should. But
Okay,
do they? I don't think so.
hold on. This is great. If you hold that men have the monopoly of force, and with that monopoly comes responsibility and a duty to use it properly, how is it that you just said earlier that you have no duty as a woman?
No duty to have kids and just provide sex
What
to
are-
a man. No,
what-
I don't have
what-
duty. Just
what-
because I'm born with a vagina doesn't mean that some man has
What?
to have sex with me and I have to have kids.
Look, I didn't say that. I'm asking you.
No, you are saying that.
No, watch. If man's duty, from your view, you're placing duties on men, right? Men have the brute force, men have a monopoly.
We're not placing
Let me
duties on men.
finish.
No.
You
Men
just
place
said
these
so.
duties on themselves. You guys
Look,
created armies.
you-
You guys created that system.
I
That's
just
all
asked you.
created by men, right? So
Malisha,
don't put it on us.
Malisha,
We
I just asked you. We can rewind it. I
Mhm.
said men have the monopoly of force, and with the monopoly comes responsibility. Should men have a duty to use that force responsibly? You said yes.
Yes.
So therefore, you're claiming men do have a duty, right? Now, when men like me ask you, what is your duty to society? If a man's duty to society is to responsibly use force, what's your duty to society?
We are teachers, we're nurses, we have lots of different
Oh.
roles to play in the society.
Okay,
Our
so-
role is not only as a mother and having babies, and that's exactly what it is. Back in the days, in dark ages, where women were just like, okay, you know what, baby making machine, you stay at home. It was all designed by you, right? This
Mhm.
whole armies are created by you men. You men fight each other, so you need to have those brute forces,
Yeah,
right?
what do you- and
Control. And thank you for saying that. That we still haven't reached there. We're still under control of men, and we haven't even.
That's right.
We have just gone here, and men are already screaming, "Oh my god!"
No,
everything
no,
is
do you
fault."
agree?
No. You've been talking a lot. Everything is feminist's fault and all this, where they still control majority, and they're
That's
still yapping because we have had maybe 20% of rights to live as we want. They want to take that right away as well. They want us to sit at home, have babies, provide sex to a man, okay, whenever he wants, because there's nothing called as marital rape, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it. They want to reduce us to the vaginas that we were, and you better be a virgin,
Mhm.
otherwise you have no value.
Well, it just turns out that if you are pure and a virgin, you have higher value to a man. That's just
Pure to who? Pure to who? And pure in
man.
what context?
So the man.
Who decides that?
I'm trying
Who
to talk.
decides my purity?
I'm trying to talk. A man who's seeking a wife, right,
Mhm.
is seeking a wife under a specific paradigm, right? Now, what is it? What's mostly common correlated with the term wife and a family? Would you say in the West? Would you say traditionalism?
I thought women were the gatekeepers of sex or whatever, but now men are seeking a wife and they have all this criteria that needs to be fulfilled. So it sounds like men are gatekeeping this sexual relationship that, you know, marriage entails. So, like, he's contradicting himself here.
Yeah, traditional
Okay.
family values,
Sure.
whatever you
So
want
yeah,
to call it.
so you're not confused why a man seeking a traditional home, a traditional family, would probably be seeking a woman who hasn't had sex with 1,000 people, right?
It depends on different men. It depends. Honestly, it depends
A
on the
traditional
individual.
man. I
A
just said it.
conservative religious man?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a
Yes.
conservative, okay, great. So a conservative religious man, you understand why it is in their view that they would be seeking a low body count woman as the mother of their children, right?
Yeah, they can have their preferences, but the conservative religious man also don't keep it in their pants. They're not virgins. It's a hypocrisy. It's a double standard.
Well, no,
that
it's not.
conservative religious men keep. Purity also means for you in your religion
Mhm.
that you also have to be a virgin, not that you've
I
slept with
understand.
100 women and now the guy is looking for a virgin.
I understand. I understand, but we already explained that because women are the gatekeepers of sex, the way women respond to men with a lot of
We didn't establish that. You just contradicted yourself with the whole men are looking for certain criteria for somebody to marry or whatever. I'm not great for myself. Sorry. He keeps saying it.
partners is not the same as men responding. So even if you said it's a double standard, well, yeah, the point is men and women are not the same. So why are you saying it should be?
Okay, so if men and women are not the same, then why do women also have to have duties? Like, why are you so insistent that men have these special duties? And if we're not the same, then why do we both have to have, like, equivalent duties? That makes no sense. If we're not the same, like, what gives? We're not the same, so at least in his world, we're not the same. So in his world, men have these special, like, duties and whatever. So in his world, women don't have to because we're not the same.
Should be an equal standard if we both agree that men and women don't actually value all the
I think
same things, right? Isn't it fair to say, generally speaking?
I think it was pretty clear before that I disagree with all of that. It's just internal critique.
Men and women, when we're sizing up a potential wife or husband, they're not actually looking at the same baseball cards. Does that make sense?
Well, in men's view, like for me, yes, it would matter to me. It depends. You know what? If my ex has had a lot of partners and they're not on his mind and he's not keeping up with them and everything is over, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so that's to you. Like, okay, you're special, whatever. Like, that's not a good argument.
What happened in your past. But if it's still prolonging and all that stuff, then it comes up to there. Because I'm not thinking from that religious background. See, the religious men, they want to do everything. They will sleep with whoever they want. But when it comes to finding a wife, they're going to look for somebody that is a virgin. Now, one more thing. Since we are the gatekeepers, right? Do you understand how many men we say no to before we go and sleep with selected men? Whereas men will be out there just trying to sleep with whoever they can get.
That makes sense, because that makes sense. That's actually
She's playing into this whole like gatekeepers thing. It's stupid.
definitional to why you're gatekeepers. Yeah, that's why you're gatekeepers.
So considering that, I don't think women are going around sleeping with that many men.
Well, you're saying today, in comparison to the numbers in before women's liberation, how many have been increased? Do you think?
Because before that we had no rights, right? Of
course. Hold on a second. The reason
we had no rights to our own bodies.
Hold on. The reason that there's a massive increase in the amount of men that women sleep with is because you were given rights. That's perfect example of why it wasn't a good idea.
We had no right to our bodies. We had no right to our bodies.
Hold on. It looks like, Mahleej, that it looks like there was probably some good intuition not to give you guys sexual liberty, given that you've taken it and turned, for the most part, turn yourself into sexual objects, into empty vessels, putting yourself on the internet. Do you know that like 10%?
Oh my God! You know what? Let's not talk about sexual objects.
Hold on. So, do you know that 10% of all women between like 20 and 30 have an OnlyFans account?
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I presume he's not going to pull up a source for that, because I don't think that's true.
Yeah, good for them.
That's good, right? For you. That's a good thing.
Yeah. How's that good for them?
How's that good for society?
You know what? Let's go ahead and look it up. Do 10% of all women between 20 and 30 have an OnlyFans account? I'll come back to it.
For society.
Society, oh, you get a lot of taxes.
That's fast. ChatGPT says I couldn't find any reliable source showing that 10% of all women aged 20 to 30 have an OnlyFans account. It said one article estimated about 2% of American women aged 18 to 45 are creators on OnlyFans, and the site claimed 29% of OnlyFans users are women, but that doesn't tell us what share of all women in that range have an account. And the site questioned that figure and suggested the actual percentage is likely lower. Yeah, I don't know where he's getting that from. If he provides like a source at some point, that'd be great. But I don't think he's gonna.
We pay a lot of taxes, which pays for everything else. We're contributing towards the society.
Okay, so materialism is your standard for what's good for society.
No, it's not materialism. If my taxes are paying for somebody's food stamps and paying somebody's food, I don't think they're living a very materialistic. Hang on to that sexualization of women. In the history, we were taken as sex slaves. And in the wars that these men go fight, and they were like, we die for women. You know what? We die for women. And what happens to those women whose husbands have been dead? The opposition will come. They will take them as sex slaves. They will get raped. You know what I mean? So the women suffer more because they're alive and raped over and over again.
Really? Okay.
Hang on. You spoke a lot. Let me talk about the sexualization of women. We were traded, passed on. You can start from kings to whatever. You have multiple women. Multiple women across. But women couldn't go and sleep around with men.
I understand. Yeah, so do you know...
So you sexualize us first. You used to trade us as commodity. We were like money.
Hold on a second. Yeah, and now you're doing it for yourselves. Now you're trading yourself.
Why is that different now?
Now you're trading yourself as commodity, and you're saying it's good, right? You just contradicted yourself.
Yeah, because we got rid of the pimp.
Okay, so women gained rights, and therefore we're trading ourselves as commodities. Like, what? Literally all of us, or he didn't even say most of us. Even his figure is not even close to most. I mean, it's obviously way too high for reality, but even in his figure, it's not like most women or anything. So, okay, a small percentage of women are hoes, and they're hoes like more openly now, and they get paid for it. Like, that's hardly society literally falling apart. And like, so what do we do? We get rid of women's rights. That's gonna solve the promiscuity problem. And is that the solution? Like, obviously he thinks this like promiscuity thing is a problem. So what's the solution? Get rid of women's rights? Is that what he's saying here? I mean, I'm not surprised, but I looked it up too, and Google's AI results seems to think it's 10%. Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. The only source I could find are from X and Quora. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous though, and I hope it's not true. It's not true. She talks about women like their nationality or race. LOL. My Google AI said 14%, but it said X and Quora. The search results were also X and Quora. Yeah, there's. I guarantee there's no like legitimate studies or legitimate like actual like data saying that's it's just not true. Just not true. Sorry, it isn't. there's I mean, come on, be a little bit realistic here.
The thing is, the pimps.
Oh, hold on.
The pimps were making money.
Okay,
from
hold
us.
on.
Why is he yelling? Like I have my volume turned pretty like lowish, and he's still yelling.
Hold on. Hold on. Oh, who owns OnlyFans? Wait. Who owns the OnlyFans companies?
It's a guy that owns
Pimps,
it, but
pimps.
it's a huge difference.
Yeah, stop yelling. You gotta stop yelling. Okay, so what you just did is you said it.
She has to stop yelling? Dude, like, you've done nothing but yell this whole time. What are you talking about? You're both like, what? Isn't there some kind of saying for, like, seeing a speck in someone else's eye, but not seeing the log in your own? He's got a little bit of that going on.
It's really good for women to, sell their sex on OnlyFans. It's good for the economy, you said. And then you went back in history and said they were owned and they got into all these terrible situations. Do you know that there's also a fairly high correlation between sex work and abuse?
Yeah. So
is that good? Is that good for women?
Do you know?
I think most of those stats are like he's bundling in sex work, which involves like actual like going out on the street corner and having a PIMP and all of that stuff, or going and doing the pole dance stuff at night. And he's bundling all of that with the like the prawn stuff, but not only like the older school prawn stuff that was sort of riskier and more abusive than even the OF stuff that's going on right now, where it's usually just some chick in her bedroom. Like, bundling all that in is very convenient for him. Like, sure, in that whole industry, if you bundle it all together, like, okay, that's not surprising. But they're talking about OF here specifically, which I would presume is way, way, way lower rates of abuse than all of that. Like, it only makes it just makes logical sense if you think about it for a minute. Like, so he's really like throwing his net very wide here.
Do you know how many?
Sorry, wait, in the newspaper article is about text, yeah. Is he trying to make the point that even OF is just men granting women rights? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. Also, the abuse goes down when it's legal. Yeah. Yep. That is also true.
Is it married get abused?
Is it good? No. Is it good for women?
Is it good for women to get married when 70% of the...
Yeah, I mean that's obviously right, because if something's going on and somebody is hitting you or beating you up, you can always go to the cops, and you're not going to be scared to say what you're doing, like what happened, what context in, and not scared of like yourself getting in trouble. So people like when it's illegal, people would be too scared to go and report when harm is being done to them, because they don't want to go to prison. Like they're afraid for like their own freedom. So like, right? Like, I don't know why these very common sense things fly right over his head, or maybe that's on purpose.
You're not answering.
You're not answering. Is it good for women?
Your question is invalid.
No, is that invalid? You don't even know what invalid means. When you put a woman into a higher risk position to be abused, is that good or bad?
Who is the abuser? Who's abusing her?
Any abuser. Is it good or bad?
Is it women that are abusing women?
Women
is
do
it,
actually.
Is it women that are going there to those sex workers? Who's going to those sex workers?
Well, actually, lesbian relationships actually.
No.
That's not what she's talking about. That's true, but that's not what she's talking about.
Not talking about lesbian.
Stop yelling. Stop yelling. This is why you can't. This is why you can't.
They're both yelling.
In positions of power. Stop the shrill yelling, okay?
No, because you're talking over me.
You're yelling.
Yeah,
oh no, Jimbob. Is that tone policing? That sounds like there's a tone you don't like and you're like policing it or something, like, isn't that like a big no-no? Like tone, like policing the tone, like, you know, like the tone, like sorry, I'll stop. I'll stop with the like thing. But they do that a lot, like when you point out that their actual tone is bad when, well, in this case they're both yelling, so in either case it's like hypocritical, but when you point out something about like the way they say something that makes it very obvious they feel a certain way, like, oh, you tone policing? Why are you tone policing? Or you point out that like one of them is yelling on a debate, like, oh, why are you tone policing? Right here, he's tone policing right here, so like it's fine when they do it.
Yeah, because you're talking over me. You're not letting me finish my sentence. You throw one question, I'm trying to answer that. You throw another question. It's like, well,
That's actually fair. He's been like the second she starts an answer, he's like butting right in. She's not great with it either. Like she's also kind of goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, but yeah, no, they both suck.
So why do men have an obligation to stop women from being harmed then?
because men know they're the predators. So they know that our women are going outside. Another man is going to attack because they know their nature. They know they're violent creatures.
I don't think any particular man has an obligation to stop like anyone else from being harmed, like legally. Maybe like I would expect, like culturally, I would expect a man to have an obligation to protect their family, but I would also expect a woman to have an obligation to like defend her children, for instance, or like if somebody breaks into the house and they incapacitate the man and he's like helpless and they're about to, you know, off him, I would expect the woman to come to his defense and, you know, off the intruder. I would expect a family to protect each other and defend each other regardless of gender. It just so happens that males do tend to have like the physical strength more than females usually. And see how I'm doing the male and female thing when it relates to biology, where it makes sense when it's biology. Anyway, so it does make sense that men would more often be the ones to protect their family, but I don't think like a man overall has like a duty to protect anyone out in public that they don't know, especially nowadays. Like you never know if you're gonna, it's unfortunate. I think I would prefer to live in a time when like everybody takes it upon themselves to look out for others regardless of their gender or whatever. Like everybody takes it upon themselves to the best of their ability look out for others, and if that so happens that that disproportionately means that men have more ability, like okay, like things are disproportional in all kinds of ways. So I would prefer to live in a world like that, but I understand that we don't, and I don't want to, like, I don't think anybody should be forced to protect others. I would prefer people to volunteer to do it, and that's the kind of world that I would like to live in. But yeah, I don't think anybody should be forced. I don't think anybody has like should have like a forced duty to do that sort of thing in like a legal way or anything like that. So I definitely disagree with her here. And he's, you know, the, she's not doing well in this debate. He is completely like guiding her everywhere, all over the place. She's just following him around and falling into every single trap. Basically, it's really annoying to watch.
Wait. Why is it good men? Why is it the obligation of good men to stop women from being abused by bad men?
Like I told you, because they know their own nature.
Why is it an obligation?
It's an obligation. It's any human being's obligation.
Oh, really?
What are you talking about? It's not men or women.
Oh, so you have an obligation now?
Yeah, if I see somebody getting hurt or something, as a human being, I'm going to react to it. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Like the same, it's like the same how
you're yelling again.
We go ahead. Finish your point.
So if someone is a big guy, huge guy is attacking a small woman and you pass by, is it your obligation to physically try to fight him, or are you going to do something else?
Well, I will try, and if I can't, well, if it depends on where I am. If I have a gun, if I have a pepper spray or something else, I will try to use that. If not, then of course I'm going to call the cops. Right? It is my duty, obligation to do something about that situation than just walk past or start reporting them.
So what I want to highlight here is, as I established very early, that Mahleej, from her own perspective of women's liberty, she really as a woman has no real obligation as a woman in society other than to just like pursue her own self-interest. But
Wait, she just said, like, if she's walking across, like, along the street and she has a gun, she could take somebody out to protect somebody. Like, she just said that. So what? This is cringe.
In the freedom and liberty to pursue her self-interests and her desires and to start an OnlyFans if she wanted and all this stuff. Embedded in it, entailed in the argument, is the obligation for men to defend those rights, right? So this is what's so bankrupt about your view and the entire feminist view, is that the statement, we ought to have X, rights, privileges, freedoms, I get to do this, we get to do this, right? We're women, roar, hear me roar. And then when we go, well, who's going to enforce that if it's violated? Who enforces that you have that? And then they go, well, men, of course. And we go,
I don't think it's men. I think it's a combination of men and women. And okay, so what if, like, majority of police is men? There's still, like, a decent minority of women. That doesn't make it all men. And a lot of police work is, like, pulling people over and giving out tickets. Like, most of enforcing rights in general is, like, paperwork. It's financial kinds of things. Like, very, very rarely does it get to actual physical violence and force and that sort of stuff. So uh, I think women are perfectly capable of doing all of this paperwork stuff. And I think, in fact, it is probably majority women that do all the, like, secretary type paperwork type things that involve, like, court cases and things like that. So I don't know what he's talking about here.
why do
Oh, good night, chicken nugget spoon.
why are we obligated to preserve a system in which you get to perpetually pursue your own wants and desires with no give back to society, no obligations to raise our children?
Well, what do you mean no give back to society? She literally just said she would help defend and whatever, and
no obligations to be in monogamous relationships, no obligations to anything, and yet you hold it in your very argument. You hold it that we men collectively have an obligation to protect the sim city that you're in, so that you could.
What do you mean we men collectively? Like, no, I don't. That's not. I don't want to repeat the same thing over and over. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I think I've made my point there. I don't think I need to repeat it over and over. But that's not. Who are you going to protect, Jimbob? Like, what are you going to? Nobody's asking you to protect anybody. Chill out. Like, chill. You sit there with your guitars or whatever. Nobody's asking you to protect anybody. Like, I think we could find some, like, people that are way more suitable. Like, people who actually sign up for it, like cops and military people, especially, like, young fit men or women that have the guns to do it. Like, whatever.
You could go explore and write another Eat, Pray, Love shitty novel. You're a feeder. You're basically you're all basically you just bottom feeders. You're sucker fish.
You're all basically bottom feeders. I'm not surprised that's how he thinks of women. I'm really not.
You don't provide anything back. And when we ask you, what is your leverage and how are you going to use it responsibly? You say, nothing, zero. You're silent. There's no virtue in your view at all. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Are you done?
Yeah.
No, you should be ashamed of yourself that you would use a human being to a vagina. Now, please don't interrupt me while I talk, because you had a lot of points to say up here. First of all, it was a sexualization that you men started. You men still control all of that. We have got a little bit of rights, okay? A little bit of rights. And even then, they're complaining, oh my God, even though you know that tomorrow, if you men wanted, you can round us all up and put us in a cage and rape us and have kids with us.
This is so stupid because she's playing right into it. And look, like, as she's saying it, he is so happy she said that. He is so happy. He's like, yes, this is the argument that everything rests upon. That's such a stupid thing to say. Like,
personally, you should be ashamed of yourself.
No, we could do that.
Because you would want to do that.
No.
The only thing that is stopping is that we...
Look at him. He's so happy. He is so happy she said that. That is such a stupid thing to say. Look, ma'am. You're doing very bad job at this, okay? That is a stupid thing to say. That is a stupid argument, and he's loving it because he uses this stupid argument all the time. It makes no sense whatsoever, and it's stupid. Stupid thing to say. Don't say stupid things, please. It's stupid.
That we've been fighting for our rights, and we've got those
Fighting?
rights.
You don't fight. When did you fight?
Hang on. I didn't interrupt you. I let
No, you
you talk.
shrill. You shrill. You don't fight.
Okay, you know what? You want to talk alone?
You shrill. You don't fight.
No, you want to
men
talk
fight.
alone?
Men fight.
You
All right,
don't have the tolerance to listen, do you? My God, you get triggered.
You don't fight. You
He really is like so triggered. I think I've already covered earlier the whole like fighting for rights thing. You rewind.
You complain and
No,
then ask
we're
men to
not
fight.
providing anything to society. We're not doing anything to this. But at the same time, the most important role, the most important thing, which is teaching kids, raising kids, that is going to define the next generation, is put on our shoulders.
That's
We're
right.
so stupid. We're so stupid. We can't be put in any leadership roles.
That's
we're
right.
so stupid. We can't be politicians.
That's right.
But we're not stupid enough to raise men like him.
That's right.
And,
Why?
and we're
I do wish she would stop yelling. I wish they both would, because they're both like intermittently yell and it's so annoying.
we're so dumb that we still protect a person like him who falls off. How come you didn't burn to death or fall off a?
Because my mom was home to
your
raise
mom
us.
wasn't stupid, right?
No,
but you think
no,
your mom's stupid
no.
and you put her outside for leadership.
No,
That's what you're saying.
No, listen,
Yes,
listen.
you are.
My mom raised 5 kids at home.
Yeah, so a woman that can raise 5 kids, the responsibility of 5 kids. You're saying she's not good in leadership positions outside the
No,
house?
I said what leadership positions women are good at are proper to their nature. Would you agree?
No, there's a
No.
lot of different. No. There's a lot of different professions.
What kind of question? What does that even mean?
Women have proved that.
I didn't ask for exceptions. I said generally speaking.
No, we're
women,
not giving you exceptions. I'm telling
Yeah,
you
you
now.
are. Yeah, you
As
are.
we progress, because we were not allowed to, so we're not. You're not
No,
going to
that's
see
not
it
true.
just
No,
spike up.
that's false.
Slowly and gradually, you're
No.
seeing women in different places of leadership.
Malisha, even opening up this idea that now you're free to pursue, I'm telling you that the statistics show once you open the gates and let women pursue whatever they want, they still end up in the same focused places of work and that are proper to their nature. Nursing, teaching, caretaking, extracurricular stuff.
Okay, so he's just making my point for me. Women choose to do these things. Maybe if they wanted to, more of them would be cops or whatever. Like, honestly, the gun is a great equalizer, and women can be trained to use guns just fine. So I would prefer, like, I would really prefer most of the cops be men. Like, I would prefer that. But that's because we're not in a gender war. That's because we're not like women are fighting for our rights against men here. We're not like women have to, learn to do all this stuff and to use force because, we're gonna fight the men. Like that. If that was the world we lived in, I would say women could and would go into police and learn to use guns and do whatever it took, and they're perfectly capable of using guns if they train to do it, to defend their rights or whatever it is they need to do. Because they choose to do these other things, like he's saying, there are more men in these positions. That doesn't mean women can't do it. It's they choose to do these other important things. And there are differences in genders that make one like more suited for certain types of positions and stuff like that. So I don't like he's destroying his own points all over the place. So I don't even. I'll be right back. There's like a cat hair in my nose or something. So I need a drink of water too. But I'll let it play for a second. It won't be like more than a minute.
With children, these kinds of things. Now, that's not a surprise to me. Why? Because I see women peculiar in their nature, beautiful in their nature, powerful, right? True power is being a mother. True power is raising the next generation and guiding the next generation. Faux power is abandoning that duty and abandoning that view and saying, we can do everything men can do. You know what you end up being? Just shitty men, just shitty versions of weaker men. Tired, old, crying into your pillow with all the makeup running down, with cat hair on your cardigan, hoping and praying you get invited somewhere. Maybe you'll maintain your youthfulness, but for no reason at all, because you're already freaking messed up the chance of being in a family. So you end up 50 years old, looking like Chelsea Handler. And is that good for society? Is Chelsea Handler good for society? No.
Society that men want to control. Of course, the thing what you see here right now, guys, is
control.
When an oppressor is seeing that, oh my God, he's losing control. What does he do? He does like this. Oh, at the same time, he's saying now he changed his stance. Before he said that women are not good in leadership qualities. There's a lot of women that are politicians. There's a lot of women that are CEOs of companies. Okay, so don't just say that. Yeah, they are.
Oh, and what would we do without them? What would we do without those CEO women?
So triggered. Oh my goodness. The little boy's ego's getting hurt.
No, what would we do without
protection? Them? Protection. Let's talk about protection. They keep talking about, oh, we need to protect these women. Let's move all these men away for a week to another town or something and let us just flow around alone, women. Let's see if we need protection. We need protection because we know your gender has more tendency to violence, okay?
Yes.
More criminals are men. Most rapists, actually, men rape men. You know what I mean? It's not women going around raping men.
Yeah,
so you guys are committing most of the crimes, robberies, murders, everything. So of course, you know your own self. We need protection, and it's because you guys are roaming around free.
Yeah, why do we owe you?
Government is giving us protection, not you. You don't give me any protection. Men like you just sit behind the damn thing and blah 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 blah. Look, you haven't contributed in the society.
I haven't. I made 3 kids. I made 3 kids.
built nothing. You haven't built nothing. You haven't
What?
built no society. You're not
What?
bringing any progressive
How do you know
thoughts.
me? You don't know
You're
me.
not in politics.
You don't know
didn't
me.
make changes.
Bitch, you don't know me, bitch.
Society.
You don't know me,
You
bitch.
don't. Oh, there we go. We're gonna call down 2 names, and this is what happens when they get triggered.
No,
You
you're
created 3 kids. So
stop
what?
shrilling.
Big deal.
Stop shrilling.
Big
You
deal.
don't listen,
Don't
Malisha.
call me a fucking bitch. Don't
I
you
can call you
fucking
whatever I want.
He is triggered. Like, they're both yelling at each other, but he did start, like, yelling over her. I heard it. I was wireless headphones earlier, so yeah, I heard that. And he's definitely triggered. And she's yelling back at him, so this is a complete clusterfuck. Guest services says Jimbo must be a miserable person to unironically call women bottom feeders in public. He's married and I think has a daughter, right? Yeah, I think so. And here he said 3 kids, so I don't know how many exactly daughters, but yep. Yeah, I think so. At least one. He's mentioned it before in somewhere. I forget where.
Then I'm gonna act like one.
I have power over you.
Don't act like a little soy boy here.
Look, we just need to redirect back to the original point. So we're gonna take a breath. The world is going on just as usual. Cars are driving down the road. Everything is all right. Ready? Jumping back into the dialogue. You're both unmuted, or at least I've asked you to unmute.
Yeah, so I want to start with the protection thing again.
It was funny. He was like doing this whole like very, like whatever he was saying was very passionate. So it's funny that he was muted the whole time. He's like, oh no. It was so funny.
Where he's getting so triggered by this. Oh my God. All we're saying is that we don't want to be harassed. We just want to live. We don't want to be forced into having sex. We don't want to be forced into having kids. Why? We as human beings should be able to decide what we want, like men do it, and they have done for centuries.
You're yelling again. So I have a question. You admit that men have to protect you because other men are really bad, right?
Men don't protect me. It's the government that protects me now.
Made of
it's
what?
The police.
What is a government made of?
Both men and women.
Is it mostly men with brute force protecting people?
If you say maybe in the army, but no, there's
look, lady,
now.
Lady, look, if a strong man, if you admit that it's men primarily who have the aggression and the strength, and they're the ones perpetrating the events, it's going to necessarily take an equal force to stop that aggressive man. That is likely the case most of the time, except for really strange exceptions, that's going to be a man. My question to you, Malisha, still stands. Why do good men, why are they obligated to protect you?
They're not obligated. It is the rules and the law of society that tells them that it's their job to do it. Nobody's obligated, right? It's the laws and rules that we have created. We've come together as a society and we've decided that as human beings, as human beings, slavery is no longer acceptable.
Let's see. I think someone is off camera he's talking to at some point. When he was muted, he was saying that he helped his family build a house or something. I was watching a stream. Oh, okay. Huh.
Right? We all, as a society, came together and decided on that. And that's where we decided as a society that we're going to have this one force that is going to protect, regardless of the point, me or a man. Because hang on a minute. If there's a break-in in my house, I'm going to call the cops. If there's a break-in in your house, you're also going to call the cops. Okay? And it doesn't matter if it's a cop that is a man or a woman that shows up there. We're not living in 1800s. Jimbob.
Yeah, you didn't demonstrate anything. The point is, men, from your view, have an obligation to society, but women don't.
No, I said we all have obligation to a good society, okay? And those obligations come in different forms and different ways.
What
you
are
women saying that we have one obligation, that is just to have kids and reproduce.
No, look, I'll go back to it, okay? If men's collective obligation is to protect society, including other men and women, if that's their obligation because of their nature, they are in the position that would be their obligation. Now, not all men, but men, it's going to be mostly men. If we agree that that's their obligation due to their nature, I'm asking you, what is a woman's obligation to society given her nature?
Like I told you again, it has nothing to do with men or women. In a society, we have obligations towards each other in different ways. You just want me to say that my obligation is to pop out babies.
I know, I want you to say just answer the question.
No. First,
answer the question.
I'm answering.
No, you're not. You're dodging the question.
Yeah. I'm not going to answer what you want me to answer.
Just let her finish, like, whatever.
I didn't tell you what I wanted. I asked you a question. If it's true that men...
Why are you yelling, Jimbob? Why are you yelling?
...to their nature, have an obligation, because it suits their nature, to protect and defend. Hold on. You admitted this already. Men, we both agree, men, based on their nature, brute force, stronger, more aggressive. Yes, because of their aggression and their strength, they commit more aggressive crimes. Because of their aggression and strength, they actually stop more crimes. So, yes, we agree with that. Okay, cool. We put that on the side. We call that, in society, it's good for men to take on a position, an obligation to protect, right? To protect children and women and people who are weaker. Great. I agree. That obligation exists. I love that obligation exists. But the question I asked you, which you failed to answer, and for the audience, you can see you're dodging and running, is that if it's true that men, according to their nature, have an obligation to society to make it good, what's your obligation as a woman to make society good? What do you actually do to make society good? That you're obligated to.
Again, I'm going to answer this. And this happened with Andrew too. They want me to say that again. They want me to say this is what Jimbob wants me to say.
Just answer the fucking question.
Let me fucking answer it if you would shut up and not get so triggered as soon as I open my mouth. Holy God. As a society, we're not living in 1800s anymore. So as a society, men and women have obligations. What you want me, or my opponent wants me to just say, is that because men are obligated, I don't know who these men are that are obligated to protect us. There is no man that is obligated to protect me, not today. It is not my obligation to pop out babies, to, whatever, to the society or whatever. No, it is not my obligation.
Okay.
I don't care how many times you ask me that question, my answer is going to be the same. That as a society, we came together, we decided we're going to have a police force. Okay, those are the people that are going to protect us.
Great.
You know what I mean? Hang on. Most of these cases, I see so many videos where women are getting groped, where women are getting attacked. Men they don't do shit. They just walk past by, or they will be recording it. So don't tell me that men, especially men these days, have you seen men these days? They're so weak. Have you seen them?
When are you going to answer the question?
So many things. No, we have an obligation as a good human being to the society. If I see something happening bad, my obligation is to go stop or contribute into that society that way. But not to just keep having babies.
Listen, Malisha,
that's not my obligation.
Absent stopping a crime or tattletaling and telling the police something's happening, I'm asking you a
tattletaling. Did he really just describe, like, the conversation here revolves around, like, somebody is, like, attacking somebody. Like, what would you do if somebody was being attacked and you gotta, like, defend them? Like, if a woman is being, assaulted, what do you do? And he's calling that tattletaling. Okay, I mean, okay.
Another question. Your normal, regular life, your existence, right? Your normal existence in the world. What is your obligation, right? Because if you hold that men now don't have an obligation to step in, no, you said no single man, singular, has an obligation to do anything in society using their brute force. They don't have an obligation. They can. It's better if they do, basically, you're saying. Now, if it's the case that no man has the obligation to step in and do anything, then by your own admission, no man, singular or collective, have the obligation to defend your rights.
Okay.
No, see, the thing is, we have come together as a society and we've created some laws, right? Do you believe that as a society we came together and made some laws, like human rights laws? Do you agree to that?
Yeah, we made laws.
Yes, no, human rights laws.
Human right laws?
Yes, like you can't keep slaves anymore. Can you keep slaves?
A human right law?
Can you keep a slave today?
Could you keep a slave today? No, slavery is illegal.
Okay, why is that?
Because we constructed an environment where if you commit this action, you'll go to jail, and so people don't do it.
No, why is that though? Why?
Because of men, not because of women.
No, because, you're not getting my point. Is it okay to have a slave?
Is it okay to have a slave? Not from my
Is it moral? Is it morally okay to have a slave?
Not from my worldview in this context, but there is a context where slavery could be the most ethical thing to do. Yeah, it's possible, but not in this context.
Sorry, you got frozen. Can you repeat again? Sorry, there was a glitch. So
I said there is a context which is not the current time. There is a context where slavery, capturing someone against their will, could be the most moral thing for them. But today, no, I would say no. In this context, slavery wouldn't be the ethical thing at this point.
Okay. In what context could slavery be the most moral thing to do to a person? Like, what? Like, why even? I mean, even if you were to say in some, like, extreme ridiculous, like, edge case, but you could say anything in an extreme ridiculous edge case could be anything. So why even bring that particular thing up as if it's, like, at least, or was, it sounds like in the past, maybe it was, like, common enough to be something that's, like, a good, like a more moral thing. I don't understand why people follow this guy. I really don't. I really don't get it. Like, can someone explain?
Okay.
Me, woman, please, someone explain.
And how did we come to that decision?
Christian ethics.
Christian ethics?
Mhm.
Christian ethics.
That's right.
Okay, this is a whole another bag of worms that I will not get to this stream, but as to just touch upon it, slavery was used to, let me rephrase that. Christianity and the Bible was used to justify slavery just as much as it was used to justify abolishing it. So, like, crediting Christian ethics with, like, the abolition of slavery is ridiculous for that reason. Because if people want to do something, they will find a way to use the Bible to justify it. So when people are ready to abolish slavery, they found a way to justify that action with the Bible. And when people wanted to keep slaves, they found a way to use the Bible to justify that as well. And let me say, it was way easier with the Bible as written to justify keeping them than it was to getting rid of them, because the passages that are related to justifying keeping slaves in the Bible are way more clear and specific than the ones that they use to eventually say, well, we shouldn't keep slaves. So I think it could be very easily argued that Christianity contributed more to keeping slaves than abolishing slavery. So I'm just going to put that there, and we're not going to dig any deeper into it than that. But yeah, that's a strange thing to bring up. Why bother saying the edge case? She seemed like she just said there was a glitch to see if he would say that again, maybe. Yeah. I wonder.
Okay, but we decided that it's morally wrong, right?
Yeah, we came to the conclusion it was
Okay,
more.
so the
Yeah.
same society got together and also decided that yes, taking women as sex slaves is wrong, right?
What? Yeah. What's your
Yeah,
point?
human rights, right? Like as a human being,
Human rights
I have
don't-
certain rights.
No, you don't.
As a human
No,
being,
you
as
don't.
a human being, why
No, you
do I
don't.
not have rights? Why? I'm
Because-
not a human being.
Because a human being right now in Africa doesn't have the same rights as you.
I'm not in Africa though. I'm
Dude,
in a civilized country.
listen
You're
close.
telling me that
Stop
She's talking about human rights, not legal rights.
yelling.
I should live like I'm living in
Stop
Africa?
yelling. I'm trying to clarify something to
You stop yelling. You're both yelling. Shut up.
teach your little brain, okay? You just
You know what? Both of you, shut up. You're both making terrible points. You, both of these things, like, both of you, shut up. Okay, good. Carry on. What's going on, everybody? How is your day so far? How is your night going? You having a good time, everybody? Yep. Now that they have both shut up, since they were both yelling and making stupid points, we can carry on with our night. I'm just kidding. We'll finish it. Well, I don't know if we'll finish like all of the Q&A and everything, but we'll finish the actual debate up to where they do like their closing arguments. We're probably not going to get to like the whole Q&A portion.
You just said as a human being. That's a universal, right? Human being.
No, as a human being in Canada,
Stop
do I have
yelling.
rights or no?
Yeah. Now
Do I
you're
have rights or no?
now you're making a specific claim about where you are, which goes to my point. Rights are privileges given by men, right?
No.
It depends. It all depends on your morals, right? So for me, a person that is in Africa should have those rights as a human being. I would think that ethically and morally.
Cool. And
But
who's
you
on-
as a Christian,
You're
you
yelling.
think, oh no, that is like their problem in Africa. You know,
You're
it's
yelling.
selective. I might give this person rights,
Okay.
and I might not give
Okay.
this person rights.
Okay,
You can choose.
okay. Look. If we agreed that they should have rights in Africa, right? If we who's got to grant it to them? Who has to go in and do that?
Who granted it to us here?
Men.
The government.
Yeah, so men, I guess we'll have to grant it.
Okay.
It wasn't all
Okay.
men. Women
Yeah,
had to fight
listen,
for it.
You
It
didn't
wasn't
fight.
all
You didn't
men.
fight at all. You
Yes,
whined and
we did.
complained. You didn't-
I covered it earlier in the stream. I'm not going to repeat myself about that. If you want to hear more about the right stuff, just scroll to the beginning.
fight at all. You yelped and you shrilled in the street and made signs and you convinced men.
It worked, didn't it?
Yeah, well, at least you admit.
No, you're yelling and screaming.
What now? You just admitted that you, if you're going to say we ought to give rights everywhere in all the lands in all the countries, you're also saying that someone has the obligation to make that happen. But the problem is the obligation to make that happen requires sometimes war, sometimes death, sometimes harm, and aggression. And so you're relying once again. The feminist says what she wants. What she brings to the table is what? Saying what she wants. Of course, if we didn't have feminists saying what they want, oh by golly, how would we organize a society? And what they do after they say what they want, they expect a bunch of men to make it happen. That's called feminism.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like saying that
I'm not going to repeat myself. I think I've covered all this stuff already. They're going in circles.
as civilized societies, we made some laws. We came to some understandings that people, human beings should be treated as humans, right? Not only that men, and specifically white Christian men, are the only ones that should have right and should tell the whole world what they need to do, right?
Well-
And this mentality that, oh, we are giving you rights. There were women that have sacrificed their lives. That's how we have not only screamed and yelled, and if it did, it worked.
You're still doing it. You're still doing it. It's not working.
And
It's
we're
not
going to
working.
keep doing it. We're going to keep
That's all
doing
you
it.
do is yell. It's better for you to shut your mouth and raise kids. It's better for you.
No, don't tell me what's better for me.
Wow.
It is. It's clearly not going well
This
for
is
you.
my right to tell you that you can go and tell that woman in your house what to do, but you have no right to sit there and tell me what the fuck to do.
The
'cause
only
I
thing
am
you're
my
doing,
person. Okay?
is increasing the income for people who are ear doctors. That's the only thing you're doing for society right now.
Increasing the income of who?
People who are ear doctors.
Ha 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 ha, because she's yelling ha ha so loud. Jimbob, you yell even louder than she does, and that's also increasing the ear doctor's salary or whatever.
My ear doctors? Well, at least I am still, increasing. What are you doing? Decreasing?
What?
I mean, like I'm creating more opportunity, right?
For what?
More capital, more
Capital,
money,
yeah,
access
capital, yeah,
going
capital.
to people that are hungry.
Slavery.
Yes,
Hold on.
exactly.
Slavery increased capital.
Depends. I'm not doing slavery. Yes, you want to have
Hold on,
slavery.
hold on.
You want to have
Hold on.
slavery.
No, I
I don't
don't.
want to have
No, I
slavery
don't.
and
Why did I
increase
say? Now you're just
capital.
lying.
No, I
Why-
don't want slavery to increase
Why did you
capital.
just say I want slavery?
Because you just brought it up.
I brought up the topic of slavery, therefore I want slavery. Are
You
you
said
retarded?
Restart capital, raise capital. Right? So
It's
your
called,
point-
do you know what an internal critique is? You are a debate.
Yeah, we're just doing calling. How was that an internal? None of what he was doing was an internal critique. Like, these people don't know what internal critique is. I have a video about that too. I've done that before.
Right?
No, I'm not a debater. Of
Why are you
course not.
debating?
Because I like having fun with little boys like you.
That's not something you
Okay, the phrasing was not great, but I think she got the point across.
should say. That's going to get flipped.
Oh yeah, I love triggering you, man. That's why I love
I'm not
you.
triggered. What you're doing
Oh, yes,
is
you are.
you already lost the debate several times over.
Oh
so
yeah, just because you say it.
He's doing all of the Andrew Wilson debate tactic things, like the announcing that she's lost the debate already so many times, even though it's like not the end of the debate. Like, oh, you've already lost, and he's doing the whole like, oh, I did internal critique, even though he didn't do internal critique, and the whole like name calling thing is in there. Yeah, he's doing all the things. Guest services says calling the cops on a home invader is tattletaling, and slavery could be the most moral thing you could do for a person. Christian apologetics, everybody. Yeah, that's according to Jim Bob, right? OCDZ says, I think Jim Bob is more interested in if he can shout down and force any woman to calm down after purposely aggravating them. Yep. That's... So a lot of these, like the whole like Crucible people, the Red Pill crowd, like a lot of these men, like the way that they argue and speak to women and the things that they say and like where you could see their mind is going right away, it's very like, and I'm not like assigning or like diagnosing them or anything, but a lot of these traits are like classic narcissist behavior, and maybe that's why they're so triggered when somebody's discussing like narcissism or calling somebody a narcissist. They do that on the like whatever podcast a lot. They discuss like, oh well, you can't just call somebody a narcissist because this and that, and like, oh, gaslighting isn't like real most of the time. It's not like used properly. You don't even know what gaslighting is. So things like that, I think they bring that up to like defend themselves against it, probably because it's like subconsciously they either know or have been called out for like that kind of behavior, so they like preemptively put it out there that like, oh well, this is bullshit, that's not a real thing, you can't just... They overuse this like narcissist like call out and the gaslighting call out, but maybe it's because there's a reason that these people are called these things. That's probably why they're so touchy about that stuff, or about being called that. Lots of experience. See, they just fight and whine is a win, but also if you can get her to self-silence, that's a big manly win. Yeah.
I already lost it. Of course, self-proclaimed.
To be fair, her arguments are terrible, but yeah, these like debate pro tactics are annoying as hell.
Man here is going to tell me again. The whole thing is the narcissism that, oh my God, the whole world revolves around us. We are going to decide what women have to say. We. You know, the basic whole thing is that us women have gone into...
Yeah, and this like randomly like throwing out an accusation, that's another thing that like narcs like to do, is like randomly throw out an accusation, force like a defensive position, like something that has nothing to do with anything.
Go on to personal attacks. Like,
I'm asking, are you drunk?
Second thing, the thing is when we...
And then acting all serious about it, like he's really concerned or like really wants to know or something. The same thing, Wilson does something similar when he's like, oh well, were you and he usually he like blames the chat for it. It's like, oh, were you raised by a single mom? The chat wants to know. Things like that. Or like, oh, do you happen to be gay? The chat wants to know. Things like that. Like debate bro tactics. Can't speak to... Yeah, psychoanalyzing is too effeminate.
We women moved into the 21st century, right? So with progress, we're moving forward. Men are still stuck in the 1800s. You're the one that wants women to stay home, cook and clean, and just have babies and not be anywhere. That is the 1800s. You want to go back?
Okay. Can I ask you something?
Don't you want to go back? No. Don't you want to go back to when the days were good, the traditional lifestyle?
I live that. Yeah, I live that. Right? Yeah, I live that right now.
There you go, because you're living in the past.
Can you tell me where progress is?
The progress is that I can sit here and tell you and have a debate with you.
How is that progress?
I wouldn't be able to do that. Of course not.
Can you tell me why? What's the standard that makes that progress good?
What do you mean, what's the standard?
You said it's progress. You're also saying progress is good. So tell me what the standard for progress is first, and then tell me why it's good.
Standard for progress, like I said, I can sit here and do this.
Your standard for progress?
I wouldn't be able to do this.
Your standard for progress is that you can get on a Zoom call?
Yeah, because back in the days I couldn't do that. Could I? Could I go into...
Yeah, no one could, because Zoom didn't exist.
No, I could never do that.
Okay, so why is that?
The whole dummy thing, that's Wilson language right there. And the whole... That is so childish too. Like, what are we in 5th grade calling people dummy? That is like a signature Wilson like phrase right there. And like Jim, I think I've said it before. Jim is like a Temu Andrew Wilson. He's picking up all of the same habits and tactics and language. That like dummy thing. Like, who talks like that? That is so cringe.
Why is that progress for you to debate a man when you admittedly said you're doing it for no other reason than just to have fun? Progress is just having fun. Nice word.
Again, I wish. Why are you going to tell me what I have to do?
That's equivalent. What's the word I'm looking for? Making it so that's like one. I can't think of the word. For some reason, I can't think of old words today. I apologize. I'm like tired, but He's saying that, oh well, because this thing and this thing are both things, therefore they're like related or dependent upon one another. That's not what she's saying at all.
I didn't say it.
Why do I have to do what you want me to do? Why? Do I sit here and tell you what you should do?
I am
No,
not
the fact that you keep telling me what I should do.
Malisha, I am
is
not your
like,
father. Malisha, I am
Yeah,
not
don't
your
be my
father.
father.
You're talking to me like I am your father, and I am
No,
not.
if you're gonna do it
Don't talk to
properly.
me like I'm your father. I'll treat you like
I'm
you're
not,
my
you're
daughter.
not
if you
my
want.
father, but stop acting like it.
Stop acting like you're my daughter.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you
I've
are.
been sitting here telling you that I'm not. No,
You're like a
I'm
pouty
not.
little kid in a room. Daddy, don't let me on the swing set. Daddy, don't
This
let
might
me.
be good.
Oh my God.
That's
Daddy, don't
so
let me. That's all
annoying.
feminism is. Daddy won't let me. That's all you guys are. It's a bunch of daddy don't let me's.
Here's another example of straight up infantilizing women. Like, that's very usual for him. I think I mentioned that before too. There's another instance of him doing it.
Oh, are you done
This might
crying?
this might be
Oh,
a
are you done
fine
crying?
time to go into the questions. We do have a lot of questions already. We also have quick housekeeping things. Folks, if you had not seen it, as you can see at the bottom right of your screen, Andrew Wilson, Made by Jim Bob, Jake of Rattlesnake TV, Inspiring Philosophy. It is a just stacked debate conference next month, November 15th and 16th. The word on the streets is that Malisha might even come. She was thinking about it. Now she doesn't look like it, okay? But believe me, it's going to be so good you won't even believe it. Check out that link for the tickets pinned at the top of the chat as well as in the description box. Not only that, we got a lot of stuff going on here. We're very excited about all of this. As you can see at the bottom right of your screen, tomorrow, Christian nationalism on trial. Andrew Wilson takes on Casey Malone. First time here.
While they're doing all that, I am told that I should be advertising the like tip link more. So, don't feel obligated or anything. But if somebody does feel like tipping or whatever, you can do that if you like. But not for sure. You know, if you don't feel like it, it's cool. You just forget it's there. But apparently, I am supposed to do that because yep, it's a thing that YouTubers are supposed to do. And yeah, so it sounds like she was considering coming to the DebateCon thing, but now it seems like she's questioning it a little bit.
That is going to be a juicy debate. You don't want to miss it. And with that, we're going to jump into this first question from Even Lord. It says, do you think societies limiting the roles for women globally showed that is what is needed for a successful society? Why did most religions devalue women? They didn't say who it's for. Either of you can go at it.
Well, it's her claim that religions devalue women, maybe, because I hold the view that there are religions that devalue women, but you can't just say religion. I think Malisha would agree with me that not all religions value or see women the same exact way. So maybe the person can write another super chat or write in the chat who it's for and specifically which religion, because you have to do that. You have to.
Doing super chats now because I was kind of hoping they would do closing statements because I don't want to do super chats for what, like 3 more hours. I don't think I can do that. We'll see if they get to like closings, and if I'll skim through it later, like offline. I'll see if there's anything else that is like worth discussing, and I'll like save clips of it for another time if there's anything that's like really stands out in the rest of the like any of the super chats or anything. But we'll see if we can find the closing statements here since they're moving into super chats. Let me catch up on chat here. To say that our guest services says to say that only men enforce rights is a composition fallacy. Not all men are in the military and police force. Usiduzi says he tries hypotheticals and abstractions, and because she doesn't even get that he looks weak immediately, where is progress? Gradius says he is generalizing it. The real flaw in the argument is he and Wilson pretend there's no other aspect involved in mobilizing that force. Force is just a magnitude without directionality. It doesn't mean shit other than potential. Cool. All right, let's see if they get to like the closing statements or if they.
This one coming from.
Can I just? Yeah, I just want to say that coming from Islam, I'm an ex-Muslim now, so
Let's skip for a little bit.
Emotionally, they're weak. They're not connecting with people on those levels. Financially, they're becoming weak because depression for 10 years. Now the other runner comes in, and his everything is increased. 15 years down the.
To be fair, her voice is really annoying. Like, I'm sorry, ma'am, lady. Like, I apologize, but. Yeah. Okay, Jim Bob's voice and yelling is annoying, but your voice is also annoying. You're both pretty much equally annoying when it comes to like overall demeanor. I'm sorry, I have to say it. Like I gotta give it to him. Like that's the one thing that Jim Bob is not wrong about in this debate. Like it is kind of like uncomfortable to listen to. I hope I don't sound like that. Like I try to like sound like I normally do. I don't like make a voice. I feel like she's like making a voice. I don't know. Maybe some people do actually naturally sound like that, but I feel like she's like forcing it like higher, squeakier. I don't know. I try to just speak like I normally would without any sort of like making it weird in any way, but yeah, I hope I don't sound like that. I apologize if I do. I'm so sorry. Okay. Let me find where it. Let me see if I can get to where if they have like closing statements.
But we
'Cause this
must.
is-
Okay.
I'm sorry. 3 hours is like a lot of like questioning Q&A.
I mean, I don't have to listen to you. What would you do?
Hillary, the point is collectively you need men. Collectively you need men, right? You to get the vote against all of the women, by the way, their opinions and what they wanted. They didn't want the vote. You guys
Is he talking to somebody else here? Is this the part where he's talking to somebody else?
railed against them, overturned them. All of the women who had choices in the matter in the referendum, you guys oversaw them. You obstructed them from making it the case that they didn't get the vote. So you already violated your principles to start. Then you had to ask men who were in power to actually fulfill on the force applicator of this new policy giving you the vote and to protect it, right? So when you admit
Oh, he's talking to like a super chatter, I guess.
that in an instance, you know, whether it's difficult or not is not in question. It could be the case very easily that a bunch of men collectively could turn it around. By the way, they did it
Your voice isn't shrill. LOL. Okay, thank you. Good. I was worried. Like, do I sound like that?
in Pakistan. They gave women rights. They take women's rights. It's a demonstration that it's an allowance given by a group of
Do you
men.
even know what happened in Pakistan and why it went back that way? Do
I
you
don't
know?
care.
Might be sitting on the toilet.
No.
Okay.
You never, especially white men, will never get that whole thing. You know,
The whole like race thing. Ugh, that's. I don't like when people bring race into things. Like, oh, white men this, white men that. That's, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that. I find it minimizes actual issues when you blame everything on white men, like, or even men in general. Like blaming any gender for any particular thing, I find annoying. Like, if there's some particular thing that it just so happens that like one gender is more responsible for, or say like one race or one like hair color, people happen to do a certain thing. I don't see the point on focusing on like that descriptor, that race or the gender or the hair color or whatever it happens to be that happens to be the majority. Focus on the actual thing, like focus on the actual subject. Yeah, I'm not seeing any closing statements, and this is kind of near the end here, and here's them gone, and they're still yelling. So yeah, it seems like they just were doing a debate, and eventually here the moderator did like a hard pivot to, okay, now we'll do Q&A, and then they're doing Q&A for the rest of the time. I'm not seeing like closing statements.
we're better
in the
at yourself
transcript.
exiting.
You said
Why
it was
did you
good.
even have to say that? Why did you?
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of yelling there. Sorry. I will listen through to the end of it when I'm like doing dishes or whatever. And like I said, if I find anything of note, I will go ahead and clip it and we'll discuss it another time. But okay. This didn't take as long as I thought it would. Probably because we didn't do the whole. Yeah, there's no way I'm doing the whole like Q&A. That's too much. Like 4 hours when we got. I don't know exactly where we were. I think we were like somewhere around here. It took us. How long? How long have we been streaming now? Yeah, it took us over 2 hours to get through like 45 minutes. So yeah, we're definitely not doing the whole Q&A of like 4 hour just source content. So but yeah, I thought that tonight's stream would be longer than last night's stream, because last night I was like, okay, we'll just do a quick like drama catch up and then we'll be done with it. And then tonight we'll do like the longer stream. But it ended up being kind of the other way around, where last night took forever, and tonight the actual debate ended up being relatively short compared to like the Q&A and everything. So, yep. Dishes, female, yeah, I actually like a lot of the like housework type things. I don't have a problem with like cooking and dishes and things like that. I like cleaning the house and whatever. And I do wish that it was more like normalized for women to be like more like housewifey type things, by choice, of course. I do think that culturally it was more acceptable to be a housewife and not be expected to work. But unfortunately, that's not the cultural climate we live in anymore. So, but yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, like a lot of things, it's not wrong to say like women are more inclined to do certain types of things, but to like take anything from that and add like force or laws on top of it. If they're already inclined to do it, why not just let them be inclined to do it? Why add force to it so that everyone has to do it the same way? Like, it makes no sense. So I like cooking, not sure about the other stuff. Yeah. I like pretty much all of the housework type stuff. There's some things I don't like love doing, like vacuuming. I don't really love to vacuum, but oh. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else tonight. I do want to try to live stream more often, but I also have a lot of videos that I've been like putting off working on. That I'd like to get out, like regular old like the analysis type stuff. I think I really want to do like the vocab one. Like the vocab one has been on my mind, and I want to get out there and want to get it done. So I'll have to do some filming for that. So I probably won't be able to live stream for the next few days if I work on that. But after that, I'll try to do it. I do want to do more than like once a week because it's been pretty busy at work, so I've been doing like once a week kind of stuff. But I want to try to do it at least maybe twice a week or something like that, or whenever things come up. But yeah, there's a Discord, so if anyone wants to join Discord if you haven't yet, there's like an ideas and stuff channel. So if you have ideas for like good times that would be good for doing live streams where it's not like interfering with the other channels that people regularly watch, so I'm not like competing too much, that would be good. And also like username ideas. Yeah, for some reason my username sucks and it probably is better to change it sooner than later, but I still like haven't found one that really like stands out. So yeah, you guys have a good night. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. Thanks for hanging out and thanks for chatting and everything. And yep, I will see you in Discord if you choose to join that, or I will see you in the next stream. Subscribe and click all the like buttons and all of the other things that YouTubers say to do if you want. No pressure. Thank you. Bye bye.